Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey!
Here we are!
Happy Thanksgiving a day early. We're not here tomorrow, right?
That's right.
We're off?
No show tomorrow, but
Yeah.
we have 3 shows that will premiere tomorrow. So you still get 90 minutes of brand new content.
Very good.
It's just not the flagship UCSS. Can I give the rundown real quick?
Please
Before
do,
you do,
yeah.
Mike, we have to acknowledge that you've shaved the mustache.
Yeah, he's no longer
I
Mikey
did.
McMustache,
He's
which
back to.
saddens me.
He went from shady guy in a van to looking 18 years old again.
I know, there really is. It's quite a drastic drop-off
Yeah.
from how young I look when I shave. I shaved last night when I got back to Cleveland. I am going to regrow the mustache, but I'm going to do it right this time. And maybe not immediately. Let me give it a little time, but...
Wait.
What do you mean do it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well,
Is there
I
a
didn't take
wrong
care-
way to grow a mustache?
Well, I didn't take care of it. I just let it happen because it was not supposed to be a mustache. It was the beard and then just
So
shaved
you'll
it.
do some manscaping on
Yeah,
it.
we'll
Trim
trim
up
it
the
up.
bottom.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Don't make
gotta
it
tell
a
you.
furry lip sweater.
How
Yes.
often have you seen someone with just a mustache where you're like, that's a good look?
Tom Selleck.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
That
I'm
might be,
with
and
you.
that might be where the list starts.
That's the end of the
Dennis
list.
Eckersley.
Okay.
Carl Winslow.
There's very few
It's a
exceptions.
rarity.
Usually it takes you from normal to creepy instantly.
Steve
True
Harvey.
story.
Yeah.
True story.
Steve
I
Harvey
mean,
almost looks
black
fake.
guys pull it off way better, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
black
a-
guys can also pull off the
Bald.
bald head.
Bald.
Most white guys look terrible with the bald head.
Prerequisite.
I was in Philly for the Philadelphia Marathon this weekend. I had 2 of my buddies running it, and some guy this is true story, swear on my life. We're at mile marker 6 waiting for my buddies to run by. And he stopped, looked at me, and said, "Great stash," and kept running. And it made my day. And my brother, who also has a mustache, was standing right next to me.
Yeah.
He pointed me out. My brother's been growing his stash for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like his is much more clean and trimmed and like well
He
manicured.
stopped in his tracks and
That's
said,
crazy.
nice mustache,
Slowed down,
and
pointed,
ignored your brother.
I swear.
That is a
we have
mustache dish.
Other witnesses, this is a true story.
Man.
My brother was so mad. And yeah, so the stash did work. It got really big. My mom hated it. I got home
course.
and she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" So
She
that
hadn't seen it on the air. She hadn't been watching the show.
Well, I only had it for one day on the show. My dad was prepared.
No, you had
No,
it
you
more
had it
than
for
one
more
day.
than one
What are
day
you
on the
talking
show.
about?
Because we
2
sat here
days.
and said, oh my God, he still has
Yeah,
it.
because you guys bullied me, then I didn't shave it. So 2 days. Yeah, it was
We
We
bullied
didn't bully
him.
you. What are you talking about?
We actually mocked you.
I
We
wasn't gonna
dissed
let-
your
I wasn't gonna let
mustache.
you
We
bully me
said
into
right
shaving
here, you look like a man that has a van with
and I didn't
tinted
disagree.
windows.
That's the issue. I didn't.
Black
disagree.
phone.
But yeah, so we have 3 shows tomorrow. We're going to have an Ultimate Cavs show. Jason and I are going to record a Cavs show after the game tonight. We have a Behind the Glass, which is already recorded. Myself, Ant, and Earl
Nice.
compared Cleveland athletes to Thanksgiving dishes and gave
Oh,
our best
wow.
representation of which
who's the turkey.
We all had different answers for turkey.
Okay, that's fast.
Gotta
That's
be
Make
fast.
sure
Sean.
to tune in.
I don't know how.
Is it Browns fans?
I don't.
No.
I don't know how I feel about y'all eating grown men like
Yeah.
as meals and dishes. I don't know.
Hey, no one ate
Deshaun
anybody.
Watson's got to be the turkey.
You cannot be like, man, Donovan Mitchell mashed potatoes. That's crazy.
That's not what we said.
Okay.
But we
You'll have to
compared
tune
them.
in to find out.
We thought it was a lot
It'd
of
be funny
fun.
if
I
they
think it
made
actually
graphics
went
with,
pretty
like
well.
Donovan's head
Yeah.
superimposed on a pile of
Just-
mashed potatoes.
yeah, just
Lastly,
gravy.
Earl's got a new 216 with a new co-host.
Nice.
So shout out to that. Also, I have to do one more
Who's the
thing.
new co-host? I feel like we should introduce.
You'll see tomorrow. It's a special reveal.
Oh, wait and
special
win.
reveal.
Okay.
Y'all just giving out co-hosts?
Oh, it's like Oprah. You get
I
a
mean,
card,
Mikey got
you get
one.
a show, you get a show.
Yeah.
Earl got one.
Yeah.
Bull got one. And then it's just G. Bush.
Gee, I'm right here, dude. Let's do it.
Gonna add Anthony into the Ultimate Brown show?
And I got to give one more person a shout out.
Yeah.
My guy Grant sent me this message. And Bull, you being the fantasy football guru, I need your opinion on this.
Yeah.
He lost a fantasy football game by .01 points.
Oh, man.
Because Lamar took a kneel down and lost 2 yards on the final play of the game on Monday
that's
Night
painful.
Football. Should they count kneel downs as rushing yards?
I've always said no for that very reason.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so, but they do.
I know they do.
And they shouldn't.
They're trying to balance. They're trying to balance the score sheet from total yards and who got them.
Yeah.
And
but
so somebody has to take credit.
But you know what? Like in baseball, there's a thing called a team unearned run. Right, like
yes, there is. You're right.
There's a unique circumstance where that happens and there could be a team rebound.
There's also defensive indifference.
Right, a team rebound in basketball. So there are things like that.
Yeah, I do think they should come up with something because in that scenario where you're literally talking about 1/100th of a point.
Yeah,
is that what you said?
And it's a victory formation, like.
By the way,
technically it's a loss of yard, but
and the league is so in bed with all of these fantasy things and gambling, obviously, that help out the situation. You know what I mean? Like it should not be a stat. And by the way, okay, some quarterbacks take a 1 yard. Some teams go boom, 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 take an extra couple seconds, and they take a 5 yard loss.
Yeah. I also think, if talking stats, that there should be a way to classify interceptions. You know, when a ball hits the receiver and pops up in the air and the defense catches the ball, like, is that really on the quarterback? But statistically, it is.
But there's some judgment in that, though.
No, I know, but the way you can do it is you just have a double stat category for interceptions. Clean and dirty. Right. Essentially.
Well, clean and dirty. By the way, I got to read this real quick exchange I had with Mike Polk because I thought it was funny.
Oh,
yesterday.
good.
Mike texted me out of the blue. Mm-hmm. He texted me because what he's referring to happened like a week earlier. So he texts me out of the blue, and he goes, you should be impeached for allowing that lopsided Nuggets A-Chain trade. You think just because our federal government is hopelessly corrupt, it means you get to follow suit?
Corey said you made a trade with him, too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know why I did it. We're in last. I think he said we're in last place.
You are in last.
I don't think they're in last. No, because I think they won last.
I think Corey said that we can't make the playoffs.
And then, but
he made a trade with you. I'm like, yeah, that's little shades.
Bulls trades is outrageous, bro. Bulls trades is like
I make fair offers.
No, you
all the time.
You do cash day advance offers. 35% interest. Take it or leave it.
What I like to do early in a fantasy season is accumulate as much talent as possible.
Sure.
And then, once most of the buys are over, I trade my depth to get better players.
Sure.
And it tends to work.
That's smart. No, it's a very smart thing to do.
I traded Corey DeAndre Swift, Tyrone Tracy Jr., 2 starting running backs, and Bryce Young, who's played better lately.
He said it was a fair trade. He got home from New York last night.
It was 3 for 1. He got 3, I got 1.
He said it was a fair trade, and I said, yeah, but, like, what's the end game? You're trying to make the playoffs, and you're telling me there's no path. Like, so why would you do that?
Yeah, well...
You guys talking about fantasy football is like me talking about tennis in front of you guys.
That's right.
It's just boring.
It's boring.
Yeah, you're right.
Like what?
That's true. Right. But you're in the minority, though. Most people love fantasy football.
No,
they don't necessarily care about our team,
about their league
and our trades.
Right.
But Mike, I won't read the rest of the text exchange. But Mike was going on. You know him. He's
Is Mike in the league?
Yeah,
he's
actually doing well. His records, he beat me this past week.
And he had no idea it was a 2-quarterback league.
Neither did
drafted
Corey.
so
but he ended up with Bo Nix, who's had a good fantasy season.
He lucked into that.
Yeah.
I can't get a birthday wish 5 minutes on fantasy football.
Also, shout out to Paul. Earl said he met a guy named Paul yesterday. He's a big fan of the show, so shout out to Paul.
Love you, Paul.
Hey, Paul, thank you.
We're going to talk some Cavs. We got Leroy and Shaun King on the show. Talk some Browns. You guys ready to hop into it?
Shaun King is fired up to take me on today.
Well, I want to hear from Shaun about what we discussed Monday at length. Should the Browns offer some sort of deal to our quarterback now to try to lock him up before the rush?
We asked
we'll get to that.
about
Shaun's going to join us
What'd
in
she say? No? Don't do it?
45 minutes. So let's do a read and let's hop in. We're going to start Cavs today, and you can get ready to tackle all the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out all the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
And a happy birthday to Dustin Fox, by the way.
Hey, man, thank you.
Happy birthday, bro.
How old are you today, bro?
No, it was a month ago.
Shout out to Stark County. He's been on the road. He's been on the road. He's been doing his thing, man.
How old are you?
42.
42. Mm-hmm. It's a great age, man.
Yeah.
Love 42.
I love it.
Love you some 42.
It's been the best year of my life.
You know what?
Yeah.
I know a little bit about your life, and I don't know about all the stuff that's happened heretofore, but I think knowing what I know about this year, I can see why that would be true.
Thank you, buddy.
By the way, on the show yesterday, we had a brief debate, which was unfair because you weren't here, but Tyvis was, on which championship team was the better team.
Oh, wow.
And he said that Dustin said that you said that your team was better because you had more players drafted.
Well, I mean, I
don't think that's necessarily a fair. I think G and
I
thought
you're
your
right.
team
It's
was
not
better.
the fairest way. I mean,
it is a metric.
It's a metric. Yes, I don't know that there is a fair way to look at it.
Oh, it is.
His point. G made the point ultimately that you beat the best team ever. In his opinion.
Y'all beat the best team ever assembled with Hall of Famers on their team.
So
they gave you no shot, and so that you get that.
You know what? We could play it out on Madden on
college football.
College football.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
I think that's a good debate for another day.
We'll give our audience some homework. If someone out there is a huge gamer and you love to do this kind of things, play the 15 national championship against the 02 championship team.
Do they call the
that's
team,
weird.
Is it 14 or 15?
It's the 14 season, but the championship game was
Same
played
with us.
in 15.
We were the 03 Fiesta Bowl, but the 02 season.
Yeah, it's really weird because that's the only game played. I mean, now with 4 games and there'll be more games played, but it's kind of like, with basketball, you get why it's referred to as the 2016 Cavs.
Sure.
Because more than half the season was played in 2016.
Totally.
But in college football, I think it should go back to the actual year.
I agree with you.
So when Ohio State wins it this year, it should be referred to forever as the 2024 National Championship.
That one in.
I had to sneak that in.
All right, Mike.
All right, let's jump in with the Cavs. Tonight's game marks game 19 for Cleveland. It's an 82-game season, which means we are just shy of the quarter mark of the season. As we've talked about at length on the show, the Cavs are off to a historically hot start to the season. So we're going to play a little game of, is it sustainable? So if you think the players' current pace is sustainable, you're going to give me the happy face. If you think they're unsustainable for the next 60-something games, you give us the sad face. And because Dustin doesn't have faces yet, Dustin's
Where are
going to be
his
playing the
faces?
role.
I mean, I feel like he's been here long enough. We should have some faces.
He looks just
we
like
are
Jason
at
Lloyd.
the end of a budget cycle. So
we don't have a budget for 2 faces? I mean, we should have
we currently
$8
have
left in the budget.
$0.0
I'll give you my credit card, Mike.
Yeah, let Mike.
Let's get some
Jake can
Dustin
pay
faces.
for it.
There we go. So we'll get Dustin some faces for today. He is Justin. We're going to run through some of the
Think I'll have
Cavs.
him by my next birthday?
You just said today he's Justin, which a lot of people call him Justin.
That's fine. Call me
Jason,
all the time.
Jason, Dustin combined.
He does get called Justin though, a lot.
I get Justin.
A lot.
I get called my brother, Derek, all the time.
Right.
Dusty.
Older or younger brother?
That's fine, though.
Older or younger brother?
5 years older.
Wow, really? And they're still
I have no idea.
goofing you up.
I don't really care.
Yeah, just roll with it.
Just say hi. Be nice.
I would say every remote, and he and I did hundreds of remote broadcasts.
Maybe 1,000 remotes.
It was crazy. I would say at least once somebody would call him Justin.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
And yet they'd always get my name right. He's from here. I, at the time, hadn't been here that long.
Oh, I wanted to tell you
Is
this.
Justin more popular than Dustin? I don't know. I mean, they're
It's about equal.
probably
I think in
even.
my generation, Justin was a bigger name than Dustin.
The
in my
80s Justin
generation.
was
I
big.
think you're right.
But I think
Justin's probably
my parents
bigger.
sort of named me after Dustin Hoffman. I mean, because he was a star in the
Oh,
80s.
yeah.
All right. Mike's going to lose
Big-
his mind.
big fan of the
We've
movie
been
The Grad
You're
sidebarring
good.
a lot.
We got plenty of time.
Go ahead.
I have to say
Yeah.
this real quickly because it made me laugh. I got an email Monday. I think that's what we were discussing this Monday. Somebody said that the best nickname that we've ever given on the show was given by you towards Bull, Petty LeBull,
Which is my nickname, my fantasy team name.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But somebody emailed me Monday and said, after Bull's story to start the show, which this viewer loved, he said, my new nickname for Bull is Karen the Bull. And I laughed so hard.
I was a Karen? Yeah. I'm an anti-Karen. I hate Karens.
I know you do. That's why I laughed so hard. You missed the story. He was the movie police.
I yelled at
Again?
Two teenage
two
girls.
teenage girls
Again?
on their phone.
Yeah.
You can't be on your phone. My sister was annoyed at me when I told
So-
her that story.
so this viewer
because
said
my
that's
sister
a
would be
Karen the
someone
Bull
on their
move.
phone in the movie. You can't be on your phone in the movies.
I don't disagree with you.
Unacceptable.
But I guarantee you didn't approach it well.
Listen,
I'm going to take that
I don't
bet.
care. They were being rude. I didn't curse.
You didn't curse.
Did you raise your voice?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. You know me. When I
think
talk
approach
normal,
matters,
I raise my
Adam.
voice.
I mean, I think they would have probably been like, oh, okay, it's a sweet
I,
guy.
I love your
Hey, what are you doing on your phone?
Put the phones away, girls.
boy. I tell you, I love your privilege. I wish we trade places one day. Imagine G. Bush
would have gotten arrested for doing that.
running up on 2 white teenage girls
Detained.
talking about, give me your phone, sucker.
Perp walked in handcuffs.
It escorted you
There
out.
he is, the man who
No,
berated
actually-
2 teenage girls.
Actually, you give us your phone and you get out, buddy. All right.
Okay, back to the game. We're a mess today.
Yeah.
So this is it sustainable? I'll give you guys a player's statistics up to this point of the season. You guys tell me simply, is it sustainable over the course of 82 games, or is this just a hot start and they will revert to a more, I don't know if realistic's the right word, but more to their career averages. So let's start with the Cavs' best player, Donovan Mitchell. Through the first 18 games of the season, Donovan is averaging 24.5 points, shooting 47% from the floor, 41% from three. Steve, you can take this whenever you want, sir. He's averaging 4.5 rebounds and 3.7 assists. Is this pace sustainable?
Not only
for
sustainable,
Donovan Mitchell?
he can grow those numbers. He's
Yeah, I
the
mean-
one that I feel hasn't even hit his ceiling this year.
Are any of his numbers career highs?
No.
Just the three-point shooting.
What do you average last
yeah,
year
that's right.
in points per game? Last year.
More than that, right, Mike?
Yeah, he was like 27.5.
Okay.
What's he shooting from three right now?
41.1%, which
And
is a career high.
What's the best he's ever shot?
Prior to this,
Yeah.
for a season, his highest was 38.6.
I mean, that's obviously a jump,
Yeah.
but I think it's sustainable. He can shoot 41% from
It's
three.
easy money. These numbers is not devastating or nothing. It's not like he's.
Put up your.
Oh, sorry.
It's not like he gets 30 points a game or something. It's easy money
Yeah.
right here.
So we all kind of agree on him.
Yeah, that was the easy.
Is there a stat on there that you think is more important than the other?
Me?
for Donovan?
Yeah, to actually sustain, like, is it assists? Is
I'd like to see him
rebounds?
continue that 3-point shooting. That's
Yeah.
the one that I don't know about.
I agree with you.
That's the only one he's never done before.
Yeah,
to that
I mean,
level.
look, it's a 3-point
He's
league. If
shooting
he can shoot 41%,
Dude, that'd be
and by the way,
unbelievable.
there's a trend that we're going to see when we look at these numbers, and the theory is that this is because of the system they're playing, the offensive that they're playing. It's not just one guy that's shooting better from 3-point range. This team is shooting the lights out.
Well, I wonder, Mike, and this sounds like a potential deep dive for you down the line. Are all the players, but especially Donovan as the best player, I wonder, my guess would be, to this point in the season, he's getting a higher percentage of open looks than
team
he's
is.
ever gotten in his career.
Oh, ever? Yeah, I bet that's right. I bet he is.
I could look into that. That's pretty easy to dive into.
Right? I feel like that, it's a guess, but
Yes, I mean, having not followed him as closely as we are now
Sure.
in Utah, I don't
Yeah.
know. But I think the fact that he's shooting that high a percentage speaks directly to the fact that he's
Right.
getting more open looks.
right. And a guy this talented, if he's getting a higher percentage of open looks, it makes sense that he hit more threes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to see that throughout the course of this.
It's gonna
a lot
be
of
a trend.
guys are shooting career high in three-point percentage, and
Yeah.
Kenny Atkinson has said since about Game 5, I don't know if it's sustainable, and now he keeps saying, well, we got some really damn good shooters, and we're getting some really high percentage looks, so maybe we can. So we'll see if you guys agree with that assessment. Let's go to Darius Garland next. Darius Garland on the season is averaging 20.3 points per game, shooting 48.8% from the floor, almost 44% from three, 2.5 rebounds, 6.9 assists. Is this pace for Darius Garland sustainable over the course of an entire season?
Yeah, we've seen him do it.
43% for the
See,
whole
that's
year?
the problem. I'm not sure. I don't know that any of these guys are going to maintain this shooting percentage. And the reason is the league is going to figure out a fix.
Well, and here's the thing, guys. The Cavaliers have played, based on metrics, like the easiest schedule to this point, the 19 games.
is that
So,
true?
It is.
Easiest?
I mean, it's
'Cause I had mentioned
spoke
Monday
I spoke
that-
to one of my buddies, TA, this morning, and I believe they have played the easiest schedule.
Okay.
Or at least-
That
if it's
wouldn't
not,
surprise
it's
me, by the
top
way.
3, right?
That
Easy.
wouldn't surprise me.
So with that being said, you're going to face better defenses as you go, and so those numbers will sort of regress to the mean, I think, and they'll still be good, but 43% is really ridiculous.
And he's shooting almost 50% from the field,
Yeah.
which for a guard at his size, that's hard to do.
Particularly for a guy who's a volume 3 shooter.
Yeah. So
That is a career high for him, by the way. The 48.8% is a career high.
See, when I looked at this exercise, and I looked more at the big 3 stats. I looked at points, rebounds, assists. I will say, before we go any further, I'm not sure that anybody is going to maintain that percentage from 3 the rest of the season. because it's so much better than what their career averages are.
If it's 43% and say he gets to 39, that's still very good.
Yeah,
Sure,
but
yeah.
it's
So
a
it's
10%
like-
regression.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the league average?
It's still above league average.
Yeah, I mean, his career 3-point percentage is 39%, so that'll be right back to his
Yeah.
career. You look last year, 37, the year before, 41, then
Mike,
38,
So he's
39,
right in that
38.
It
area.
is sustainable. I mean, if he shot, I didn't realize he shot 41%.
But watch, Gia, I'll show you
pretty
how that's kind
ridiculous.
of tricky. When
Well,
you
he's
look at
real
percentages,
Quick, real quick, Jay, before you
Okay.
do that, compared to last year, he's 7 points up on.
But last year was a
percentage
particularly bad year that
Yeah.
we didn't expect.
you know what? You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of baseball season. It's early June. You're at the quarter pole, and someone's hitting 430, and you're going, "Oh, wait a minute. That's just not doable over a full." Now, you say, "Well, it's only 4 percentage points," but in baseball, it's the same way. When you're talking about a high volume of number, like you are in at bats and shots, a 43% down to a 39% is a batting average going from 430 to 390. And
Right.
that's a 40-point dip, not
Yeah,
a
but
4-point
However,
dip.
basketball and baseball is different. Baseball, pretty much at the plate, is an individual sport. To what Bull said earlier,
So is shooting.
if you are getting open looks and your
Yeah.
looks are better or higher quality looks, then you should be able to still knock down those shots at a higher level
Yeah, and
because
not
they're
to
wide
mention
open.
the average field goal percentage and the average 3-point percentage is going to be higher than the average batting average.
Yeah, no, I'm not comparing
Yeah.
the numbers themselves. I'm
Okay.
talking about the drop.
I got you.
Like a
I got you.
43% drop to a 39% drop on the surface doesn't seem like a lot. But when you flip it to the baseball discussion, a 430 average to a 390 average, or do it this way, a 270 average, which is very serviceable, down to a 230 average.
Right,
it's only a 4 percentage point
Right,
drop.
and-
but in reality, it's like it's a huge drop.
Well, on top of that, if let's say he's going to shoot 39% for the season, well, that means he's shooting 35% maybe for the rest of the year. Because to end
Yeah.
up at 39, he's going to have to shoot well below that.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that that Darius shot 41% from 3, was it 2 years ago, Mike?
Correct. In the first year he played with Donovan.
And
And it was essentially the same. He's taken one more 3 this year compared to that previous season.
And if you throw in the fact that this is by far the most talented team he's had around him,
yeah.
I mean, 43% is not crazy.
The variance isn't
I don't think
that
it's
high.
impossible for him
Yeah.
to shoot 43%
Like,
for the year.
If you
Let me
shot
ask-
41 and you shooting 43, but you shot 39, you got to,
Right. If he
two
shoots,
down
like if he
variable.
finishes at 41 this year, okay, he shoots 39% the rest of the year. That's still really good.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And even if he regresses all the way to 39%,
Yeah.
I'm living with that all day long. My question to you, Mike, is my concern is that all the rest of the league, both individually and kind of collectively, because that's how these blueprints transfer, there is a remedy to slowing what the Cavs are doing.
If you have the talent.
Yeah,
Like,
If you have the
Boston
length
does.
and the
How many
talent.
teams do, though?
But what I'm saying to that is, I think the quarter pole is kind of the good judge because now there's hay in the barn. There's tape in all of these 29 other NBA camps, and they're looking and they're dissecting and they're saying, "Oh, here's one of the things they're doing." The counter to that is this. The rest of the season, we're going to see what the league does to counteract what the Cavs are doing.
What the Cavs have done offensively is not recreating the wheel. They've just added some
Right.
elements of driving kick. The way you slow that down, to Bull's point earlier, is you switch.
Yeah.
Boston has the horses to be able to switch and not get absolutely
Yeah,
burned.
but not everybody does not.
Most teams,
Do
not even everybody. Most teams.
Yeah, there's probably
like,
a handful that do.
I'd say less than 5.
Yeah,
that
right.
have
I agree
the
with
ability
that.
to switch.
I agree with that.
And
real
here's-
quick, but just to add on top of that,
Yeah.
because they're playing so unselfishly, they're not forcing shots even in switches. They're still working to get good
Right.
shots.
Yeah.
And that's what's leading to this incredibly hot shooting. To start the
And
season.
Mike, I think, I'm looking at the defensive efficiency in the NBA. The Cavs are 9th in defensive efficiency. If you look at the 8 teams ahead of them, 6 of the 8 are in the West. So, yeah, they'll play 2 games against those teams, and they already have played Golden State and beat them. But you're not going to at most, you'd only have to play one of those teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So the fact that, like, Oklahoma City, Houston, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, and the Clippers are all really good defensively.
Yeah, we'll see
That's
one of them.
fine, but you're only
Maybe.
at most going to have to play one of them in the playoffs.
Correct.
And you got to deal with Boston. Orlando's up there defensively. The Cavs beat them already. And you can't say, well, they beat him without Banchero because they played great without Banchero.
Well, they still beat him without Banchero.
They did.
I agreed to your second point.
And they're better with him, but they're playing great without him right now.
I agree. They're playing way better than I thought they would.
Is there any team in the East, Mike, besides Boston, that you think could slow down in a series this Cavs offense?
Yes.
Yeah, the Knicks at full health, if they have, and listen, the Cavs are going to attack Anthony Towns. Like if he's on the court, they're going to, in a playoff series, every time they're going to try to get him a pick and roll. But theoretically speaking, they made the trade for Mikal Bridges to have these uber athletic switchable wings in Josh Hart, Bridges, Anunoby, Miles McBride off the bench. They have no depth anymore, but the whole point was they had 3 or 4 6'6" to 6'9" defenders to switch.
Right.
But they haven't been good defensively so far. I know it's early, right?
They've been terrible. It's
Dude,
early, but
nobody has. Do you see the scores this year?
Oh, except for,
insane.
I mean,
the Cavs
Oklahoma
have the
City,
highest. The Cavs this year
Boston.
have the highest
The
offensive
total
rating in the
tonight for
history
this
of the league.
game is 240.
Well, Atlanta doesn't play any defense, right?
No, I get it.
And
but
I would take the over.
But that's still 60 a quarter.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
All you need is one quarter you score like 52. And that's a lot, by the way.
The Cavs have had quarters where they scored 46.
But is that all terrible defense, or is it that
Pace.
teams are taking more 3-point shots than ever?
Yeah.
It's
all the
all
above.
the
It's all
above.
the above.
Right.
All the
Yeah.
above.
Right.
It's
It
collective.
all
It's all the
factors
above.
in.
Like, don't get it twisted. When these playoffs come around, Indiana's going to be good.
Defense
New York's
will be
gonna
in vogue
good.
again.
Orlando can ratchet it up. New York, Boston. It ain't going to be
But
no
here's
walk.
the thing. The Cavs also can play good
They
defense.
can.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so like you say, okay, well, but the Cavs are better than those teams offensively. And outside of, Boston's the team to beat in the East. We all know that. But every other team in the East, their defense is going to get better, but so is the Cavs. And the Cavs are better offensively, probably, than every other team in the East besides Boston.
All I'm saying is, yes, the Cavs are good. I would give them the edge, series, but the playoffs, they're going to slow down. The ball is done. It slows down a little bit.
There's going to be no cupcake series for the Cavs.
Yeah.
Right.
Next up, let's get to Evan Mobley. His numbers improved from last year's at 17.6 points per game, 8.9 rebounds, 2.6 assists. He's averaging a block and a half, shooting 56% from the floor and 35% from three. Are all those numbers sustainable for Mr. Evan Mobley?
I'm very concerned about the three-point
Yeah,
shot.
three-pointers.
But everything else, I think this is the new Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Overall, yes, 100%. Mm-hmm. He's a different person, different player. I mean, he's playing out there with that dog in him, which we'd never seen before.
He's going to go back and look at tape of him in his first couple years, and he won't recognize it.
Yeah.
He's a totally different beast.
Well, if we're going to say he's totally different, that 3-point, the difference is the 3-point shooting.
I don't think so. I think it's the aggression.
I think that's one of the differences, but I don't think
so much more aggressive.
It's definitely not
down
the
low.
only difference, Gene.
I'm saying it's the biggest difference because when you talk about it, aggressiveness is fine, but floor spacing is a thing too. You can be aggressive all you want, but you clogging the paint up. Him shooting 35% brings people out from the basket so Jared Allen can rim run and do other
what if I
things.
told you his 3-point percentage is down 3 points from last year, though?
How many did he shoot last
He
year?
probably shot as many this year as he did all last year.
He's averaging 1.7 threes this game, attempts. He's averaged 1.3 last year.
That's it?
His 3-point shot is the same as it was.
I
it hasn't
think-
changed. Bull's right. It's the aggressiveness.
It's 100%
yeah,
the aggressiveness.
I agree with the aggressiveness.
I get what you're saying, but he's not sitting in the paint waiting for the ball to get to him. He's taking the ball and going down court and attacking the basket.
Yep.
He never really did that last year.
I get it. That's part of it. But what I'm saying to you is if he wants to continue to be the different player, he's going to have to shoot threes. And I bet you the Cavs are telling him, shoot it more.
That's fine, but he's only shooting like 2 a game, and that's. I don't think he needs to do more than that.
He's not even shooting 2 a game.
I'd like
even
to see
to a
him
game,
shoot more
yeah.
than that. I would.
I think in the playoffs he's going to have to. This season, he's taken 31 3-point attempts in 18 games.
Yeah, it's not enough.
So the
wanna
volume,
see
it's
some
crazy
more.
because he made a couple early.
What
and
was
we're
his
like
percentage last year?
37.3.
So basically, his outside game is marginally different.
It's
Marginally.
marginally. Yeah, he averaged 0.4 3-point makes per game last year. He's averaging 0.6 3-point makes per game this year.
Yeah, that's almost
It's almost same.
negligible.
It's the other parts of his game. Ironically, we kept saying it's got to be the threes. It's got to be the threes. It's the other parts that have actually taken the jump that we hoped the three-point shot would.
Yes.
And because of the way they're utilizing him in the space and the whole offensive
Now
scheme.
imagine if he does add that to his arsenal.
Exactly.
There's another level that he goes up. Because once he becomes a legitimate outside threat, which he is not even close to it right now, but once he becomes an outside threat, oh my goodness, it opens up everything, not just for him, but for all of his teammates.
And
how do you defend that?
Because we got Leroy, so I'm going to get to two more real quick, but isn't it crazy? Just on paper, we all think Mobley's taking a step, right? He's averaging fewer assists, fewer rebounds, and shooting worse from three this year than he did last year. His points are only up by 2, but visually it looks so different.
Wow. You know what? You can't measure his impact because it's like things that don't show up in the box score.
Exactly.
His aggressiveness has opened up things for all of his teammates, and he's not getting credit for that in the stats.
What did you say, Mike? I missed it.
His numbers are essentially the same as they were last year.
His points per game are up 2. Steve, take Mobley's.
It's a big difference, though, up 2.
Well, what's funny is if you would have asked us on a blind test, what are his numbers? We would have said his numbers are up 5, his rebounds are up 2, his assists are up.
But
everybody else's numbers are up, and I accredit that to his aggressiveness and the way they're running the offense.
Well, if you look at these numbers, these are his numbers this year. Yeah. Last season, same blocks, 1.5. Last season, he averaged 3.2 assists, so more last season. Last season, he averaged 9.4 rebounds, more last season. Last season, he shot 58% from the floor, better last season. He shot 37.3% from 3, better last season. The eye test tells you he's taking these giant leaps forward, and part of the...
What's his touches?
I have to dive way deeper into the box.
Okay, let's do this.
What are
let's
his
figure
turnovers?
out what his touches are.
What are his turnovers this year? He's gotten better at that.
Turnovers are up by half.
They're up?
Well, listen.
He's touching the ball a lot.
Here's why his turnovers are up.
Okay.
His handles are up.
Yeah, he has the ball way more.
That's where we're going to see the
definitely
big jump
better,
in Evan
man.
Mobley.
So he's taking a giant jump. I'm not trying to say he has. I'm just saying that the numbers don't necessarily back up.
It's an interesting study.
So what you're saying is kind of like Myles Garrett, right? Where you don't necessarily see maybe the numbers, but the impact is there, right?
Well, I mean, he's still averaging 17, 9, and 5.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say Myles Garrett because he's making all of his teammates measurably better.
And Myles Garrett does not make your teammates
Where
better.
are all these other sacks from the other teammates?
Well, if he wasn't getting that attention, they have all kind of other stuff going.
Well, he is getting that attention.
That just goes to
so I want all the stats from the whole defensive line to be way up.
One great defensive lineman can't make other guys get sacks.
They can lighten them low.
No, but we make that argument for TJ Watt all the time. Well, he's got a bookend that's great.
My point is,
so we can't use that argument when it fits our case.
The point of the comment was there's sometimes that you can look at stats and just say you could be fooled by the production levels and say either you're good or bad based on just those stats. When in reality, there's certain things that you do that don't translate to stats that help the team.
I mean, in football, it's a bigger difference because in football, we only judge defensive linemen based on sacks, which is stupid.
Yeah, has anyone ever said Myles Garrett's bad, though? Like,
what's that?
No one ever says Myles Garrett's bad.
No. What I'm saying,
the only argument against him is he the best in the game right now? Yeah. Is he the best of all?
I don't think anybody in the NFL would actually say somebody else is better. Maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, football, like Myles Garrett could benefit from a great secondary. You know, more time. Like, so I get what you're saying, G.
It's
Bush.
Complimentary.
But it's hard to compare the two.
I just think in Mobley's case, like we're trying to struggle here to make sense of his stats, which are either at last year's level or in some cases below. And I think the point that I wanted to make was I want to look at his touches because I think that number is going to be
the end of the show.
Way up. And I also think that because of this, like his style is different. He's playing stylistically a different game, and I think that that's benefiting everybody else on the floor.
Also, Mikey, what are the numbers on the Cavaliers, like the offensive rating numbers?
They have the number 1 offensive rating in the history of basketball.
So that to me is a more telling stat right now because
oh my God.
Mobley is certainly a huge part of that. You said touches, right?
Yes.
So the ball is going through him. The team is putting up better numbers. So overall, yeah, I get it. Like the numbers may be the same, but how he's playing the game, the energy that he brings to the team, to the court every night.
And I don't know if we can prove this. I don't know if there's a stat to prove this. There really isn't. But by watching the team, I think we'd all agree that his improved play and his improved presence on offense is getting easier shots for the other guys.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Right?
Totally.
So
He's playing with more confidence. You can't measure that. Mike,
Yep.
you kind of glossed over that stat. Let's hit that again. Yeah. They currently have the highest offensive efficiency that's ever been recorded in the NBA.
Isn't that misleading, Mike? Because all of the teams near the top are in the last 5 years.
The Celtics last year had
Well, it
number
has to
2
do with
now.
the transition to the three-point game.
There's 4 teams this year who are top 10 all time.
Okay, but everybody is playing that style of basketball right
The
now.
Cavs are doing
Did you
it better
see the
than
B.J.
anyone else.
Armstrong soundbite?
No,
It's really interesting.
I've been completely unplugged the last 2 days.
Okay, B.J. Armstrong had a comment that really made me think. He said, I can't watch today's NBA. It is boring. I have executives, coaches, and players tell me there are 3 objectives on offense: corner threes, layups, or free throws.
Yes.
And he said the creativity and imagination is gone. There's none of that in the NBA. And I couldn't disagree with anything he said in that podcast. It's fascinating. Search it out and look at it.
2 more real quick, and then we're going to bring Leroy. Jared Allen will fly through it. 14.8, 11.1, 1.8, 1.5 blocks. Does anyone think that's not sustainable?
No, that's completely sustainable.
All right, perfect. We're going to fly through because I want to.
No, he's not going to shoot 70% from the floor the rest of the way.
What's his career shooting percentage?
64%.
Yeah, well, I just don't. It's again, I know it seems like
All
it's
he does
5
is-
percentage points, but it's a batting average going from 290 to 240.
I mean, all he does is do dunks and layups.
He's
so
big inside. I get
yeah.
that. That's why his field goal percentage is so high.
Yeah.
All right, and last one,
Easy money.
Ty Jerome. We got to talk about Ty Jerome. He has been the surprise of the season, Steve. It's 330. He's averaging 12.6 points per game, shooting 59.7% from the floor, 54.4% from 3, 2.1 rebounds, 3.8 assists. He's been the best surprise in the NBA thus far, but is it sustainable over the course of an 82-game season?
Unfortunately, no. But I hope
No,
to be proven wrong.
not 54%. I mean, I think the
50
12 points is
12
sustainable.
points is
That's sustainable. You
Yeah,
can do
sure.
That 54%, nah. You ain't getting
And the
that.
59%.
That's tough.
Like, Chris.
Yeah, the shooting percentages can't keep.
He's David Fry.
But after a certain point in time, you done played this many games. We got to stop saying this is a nice story.
And he's
just good.
playing.
He's a
You
good
know, the
player.
12
He's just a good
points.
player.
I'm going to say that in February. If these
it-
numbers are where they are in February, we're in November, guys.
Last 4 games, he's averaging 20 points a game because he's
Yeah.
playing more.
Yeah.
So if he plays as much as he has lately, which he probably won't if everybody's healthy, but throughout the year there's going to be guys missing time. So
Yeah.
I think he could definitely sustain the 12 points
I think
per
that's
game.
that's a gimme.
Yeah.
But he's averaging 27 and a half over his last 2. He had 29 and 26.
Yeah.
Like,
Is 40% from 3 sustainable for him?
yes.
His
Seems that
career
way. I
believe it
three-point
is.
percentage is 34.
Because again,
He hasn't played
everybody,
enough, right, Mike?
everybody's
No, I'm just
shooting
giving the
percentage
number.
on the
Just give me
Cavs
the
is
number.
up.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what it's going to look like moving forward because the league's working on a fix. They always do.
All right, we're going to bring Leroy in here. We got Leroy waiting in the wings. He listened to that last 7 minutes, so we appreciate Leroy's patience. If you want to play America's #1 daily fantasy sports game, you got to download the Prize Picks app. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can even double your money if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly just by playing $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly. When you play $5, you don't even have to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. What's up, Leroy?
What's happening? It's amazing how you guys are picking apart stats when the most important one is 17-1, and the fact that they can go deep and have a bunch of different guys score every night is what makes this team really good. I mean, the last couple of years, if a couple of guys didn't get their numbers, you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we
now
worked
you
on
have
critical,
guys.
Leroy. I mean, I didn't-
So
that was the
when
exercise.
other guys, when some of the other guys come in and get some of those numbers, that's a good thing because now you don't have to rely on the numbers that everybody got last year.
And your starters are getting rest.
Right.
which is key.
Because they also, keep in mind, they also have the fewest minutes of any starters in the league.
Right. And not that it's fool's gold because I don't think it is. I think their record is, you are what your record says you are. But Dustin said that a little bit earlier, he said that, by the metric that measures strength of schedule, that they've had the easiest schedule, or one of the easiest schedules so far in the NBA, which I kind of
everybody will hit that
Monday.
rut. You'll hit that rut. You play 82 games. You're going to hit a week and a half where you can't hit the broadside of a barn. It happens to every team. So, it's coming, but hopefully they can get through it and get back to where they are now. That's it.
I want to ask you a question about running backs, because I know you studied this very closely.
Hold on, Leroy.
He's going to give us a dissertation here. This is Michigan week.
Remember what I told you
about
that? I'm gonna look at Jameis and I'm gonna give him 3 weeks.
Right.
Here's what his numbers are after 4 weeks.
Right.
So it plays Steelers, Saints, Chargers, Ravens. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but they beat the Steelers and the Ravens and lost to the Chargers and the Saints.
Chargers are a good team.
That's not even the point. The Steelers and the Ravens, teams that talk about winning championships, we go and play the best football we played all year. So the averages are 63%, 295 a game, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, and quarterback rating 87.1.
Are those numbers right? I thought it was 7 touchdowns, 3 picks.
1, 2, 3. Well, that's maybe I'm only including Steelers, Saints, Chargers.
He had an extra touchdown.
He had a touchdown in the game where he came in to finish.
Right. So okay. I didn't include the numbers for that game.
So he's 7-4, I think, for the season.
Yeah, 7-4. So that's his numbers.
Yeah.
That's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Okay. I cannot explain this, and I wasn't on last week. And I'm gonna say these numbers to you, and I'm still trying to figure out how in the hell is this possible. 65% completion percentage, 395 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a 106.7 rating, and you lose by 20.
Yeah, 21. Right? We scratched our head too, Leroy. There is no explanation.
I cannot. And so it's you don't throw for 400 with no picks and
scored 14 points.
It scored 14 points. It's crazy. So there's some other things that are going in, but as far as can he be the starter for this team? Yes, because he's driving the ball down the field. He's not absolutely going on one of those interception binges, which, he's actually 7-4 is not terrible.
Right.
And you can live with that. But when you look at all your other options of what you had the last couple of years when Deshaun wasn't here, I mean, Joe Flacco was 13 touchdowns, 8 picks when it was all said and done.
Which ironically is almost the same ratio as Jameis Winston.
Correct.
But the distinction is he was throwing for less than half of the yards per game. That's the difference.
Correct.
Who was Joe Flacco?
No,
Joe Flacco.
we're talking about Deshaun Watson. He was.
Oh.
No,
you said Flacco.
Oh yeah, right. Flacco. And see, and that's the problem is that when Deshaun Watson was in there, you're throwing for 170.
Yeah.
So any quarterback that pushes the ball down the field is going to look like the greatest thing in the world. And that's what we thought about Flacco last year, but he was 13-8.
Oh, Flacco was 13-8. What is Deshaun Watson's touchdown to interception ratio for his 17 games played here?
Oh,
I would.
No, I'm asking Mike.
I would guess he's got to be damn near 1-1.
He didn't throw a lot of picks.
No, I think it's 19-13. Yeah, 19.
Okay, so it's worse. 19-13, so it's worse than Jameis's ratio. And again, he's throwing for
here's
half
the thing.
the yardage.
Half the yardage and at a lesser percentage.
Right, yeah, you're right.
So that's the thing.
Do we know, Mikey, if you extrapolated Jameis Winston's numbers out from these first 4 games and extrapolated it out through the rest of the 16, 17 games?
We did that Monday, remember?
What would his numbers be?
He had 5,000 yards passing.
I'll tell you one sec.
We did that Monday. Remember, a fan did that for us.
$295 a game.
Yeah, times 17.
Yeah, but what does that matter?
At $295 a game, you're leading the league.
We're trying to figure out what he would be for a whole season.
Yeah, but there's
like you case 1,200 yards passing.
You got to play the season. Like there's a lot of guys that for 3-4 weeks put up good numbers and can't sustain it.
Of course. So the only way to project it is to use the averages. That's it.
What's the point of projecting?
We do that all the time. What do you mean? What's the point of projecting? We just did an entire segment based on projecting stats.
But we've already discussed. We know his numbers are good. What the exact numbers would be? What does that matter?
Of course, it's hypothetical, but it's all we have.
Bull, the only reason why we're having this conversation is because I was asked.
Right.
How many weeks before you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And you remember that was a couple of weeks ago.
And now you're saying you know.
3 more weeks.
Yeah, he's.
And I'm like, this is, and this is not for whatever reason. I'm making this statement, and it's not to whoever else has played quarterback for the Browns. This is the best quarterbacking that consistent quarterbacking for a month this team has had.
Since Joe Flacco.
Right. Through injury or whatever.
It's Joe Flacco. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was only last year.
But Joe Flacco wasn't better.
No,
Joe Flacco
was pretty
wasn't
much the
better.
same guy. Leroy, his 13 to 8 touchdown to interception ratio is almost exactly what, because if you extrapolate it out, it's 14 to 8 for Jameis instead of 13 to 8 if you double his current numbers.
Right.
But the yards per
judging
game,
it that way is flawed, by the way.
Of course it is, but I mean, it's apples. It's
all we have.
Yeah,
that's all we have at this moment.
One point that you made, Leroy, that I think is worth pouncing on is when you look at the teams that he's done this against. And again, the Saints team outcome is, I can't explain it. I just can't. But he's beaten two teams that are in the midst of the playoff hunt, and his other loss was to a team that is also in the playoff hunt. So he's not doing this against schlubs. He did it against pretty good defenses.
He's done it against one very good defense.
You don't think the Ravens are good?
No, the defense is horrible.
I don't think it's horrible. I don't. I think their defense is pretty damn
horrible.
good.
You may not think it is, but it is.
Statistically.
Well, it's not as good as it's been. Let's do that.
No, I'm not.
It's been one of the worst in the league. They've been terrible.
Where are they in team defense? If
you don't want to know the answer to that, Jay.
No, I do. Because to my eye test, I think they're pretty good.
Were they 29?
No, your eye test sucks.
Maybe it does. That's why I'm asking this question.
In scoring defense, they rank. In scoring defense, 23rd. And in yards, I'll just do total yardage. They rank 31st.
And as bad as that is, I think it's a bad statistic. But
No, but 31st is which shocks me.
Yeah, they've been terrible.
Yeah, but 23rd in total defense, I look at that more than yards.
I don't look at none of that. If you're on the schedule, I'm trying to beat you. I don't care if you bad, good, or whatever.
And they're the Ravens.
And I'm gonna put these numbers up.
They're the Ravens.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Their record is pretty damn good.
Here's the bottom line: Jameis has played very well through 4 games. I'm not hearing this propaganda that he's done it against great defenses. He did it against one great defense, but it doesn't matter. He's played well. Yes, he's having a discussion with anybody in Deshaun Watson is pointless now. Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback in football.
Yes.
There's no point in comparing him to anybody else. So Jameis, right now he's the best option, and maybe he's the best option for next year. He might be.
Right. That's I think that's the point. Yeah. That's where we were getting to. Like, is it worth it? You know what's amazing, and I feel bad for doing this. Is that we're talking about a guy you gave $230 million to, and we're comparing the 2 quarterbacks that replaced him. We're not even talking about him.
At a grand total of $8 million for 2 of them.
Right. Yeah,
and they've more than doubled the output of the guy that was paying $230 to.
Here's and I don't know how, the way I live with it is I say sometimes you make good decisions that turn out bad. And you got to be able to accept that. And the next time a situation like it presents itself, you go after it again.
That's right.
Because that's what sports is.
That's one way to kind of categorize this. A good decision
and so
bad.
At the time,
I would characterize it.
At the time, it was a good decision. because everybody saw Deshaun Watson as a guy that could come in and get back to what he was. It didn't work out.
Let me ask you a question, Leroy, about the league globally. I've made this argument for the last probably 2 seasons that we're that things are shifting away from the wide open air attack that we had. That I think the apex of it was that Bills-Chiefs game where they were like a pinball machine.
Right.
Now I'm seeing run games having a distinct, teams with run games have a distinct advantage. I'll point to the Eagles, who had a great team last year but came unraveled. They added the best available running back, and they now, to me, look like a team that's on a Super Bowl express. He had 255. Would you agree that the value of the running back, the worth of the running back, is coming back to the NFL?
Here's the problem with the NFL. And I'm going to tell you, all these people that run all these front offices and stuff, they're two-faced, right? And here's why. They come here and talk about controlling the line of scrimmage, and we're going to build this team from the inside out, and then say we can have anybody playing running back. Well, that don't fit what you're saying. Now, you look at the success that all of these teams have had. Now, there have been some exceptions in the Super Bowl. So please stop and don't hit me up and try to send numbers to me and whatever. But the teams that have competed for Super Bowls year after year, or the teams that are there competing for a Super Bowl, have been able to run the ball in some capacity.
Well, but hold on, Leroy. The reality is there's not been a great running back on a team that's won a Super Bowl in as long as I can remember. Who's the last great running back to win a Super Bowl?
No, I don't think he's saying that. I don't think he's saying that they've been run-driven.
Yeah.
He's saying that to completely dismiss it, do it at your own peril. You have to be able to run the ball at some point.
Nobody's completely dismissing it. That's a misnomer. It's not being completely.
No. That's not true.
Yes,
every
it is.
Every front office the last few years said we can just get anybody in the third or fourth round.
But you just argued that when I said no teams had a great running back that's won a Super Bowl, you said, well, it's not about the running back, it's about the running game. And now you're arguing that, they don't care about top running backs. So what is it? Because not a single great running back in the NFL, all the best guys have not won any Super Bowls. None. Give me one guy.
Okay, then
playing.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When we get to the playoffs, I'll take my chances with the team that runs the ball the best.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because you know what you can't control in December and January? The damn weather.
Well, the teams that have won the majority of the Super Bowls are the Patriots and Chiefs, and those teams weren't necessarily that ran the ball the best.
And every year after the Super Bowl, there were questions on whether the running back should have got the MVP.
Interesting.
Go look.
Well, you know what? Here's
but none of those guys were highly paid. So you guys are saying, well, you got to take care of the running back. You got to pay the running back. Well, if you pay the running back, you don't win.
Well, here's teams that this is
not
fascinating.
Saying every running back is Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry.
Well, that's my point. So listen to this stat, which really blew me away. The Giants let Saquon Barkley get away. The Titans let Derrick Henry
this
get
is a
away.
joke. This tweet.
No,
I saw this tweet.
It's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
The Raiders
it is 100% a joke.
let Josh Jacobs leave.
Yeah. How good were those teams with them, Jay, last year?
Those 3 teams are combined 7-26.
How good?
Those 3 running backs this year are a combined 24-9.
That is absurd, Jay.
Bull.
No, here's a fact.
And
here's a fact.
Why.
Can I give you a fact?
Give me a fact.
All 3 of those teams
that
lost the running backs were terrible last year.
I know they were.
And all 3 of those teams that got the running backs were good last year.
See, you're helping me make my point. You're helping me make my point.
Yeah.
Because those 3 players went to teams and made their teams better. It's not about be good or bad. You're not in it to be good. Remember,
the Ravens were the best team in football in the regular season last year. How are they better?
So you don't believe?
Wait, who was the best team?
The Ravens were the best team in the regular season last year.
Just talk louder.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You don't believe that the Ravens are a better team with Derrick Henry?
Of course they are.
I agree.
That's all we saying.
And the Eagles are a better team with Saquon Barkley.
That's all we saying.
Yeah, also, you're forgetting those guys are probably a little bit peeved that the teams they were on didn't want them.
Yeah, but see, I always laugh at
Jay,
that as
you're
motivation.
making it seem as if
I
there's
think
a
it is.
cause
So you
and
try harder then?
You're
I
making it seem like there's a win-loss cause and effect by that ridiculous stat. It's not.
No,
those teams were good last year.
What I'm making the causal effect to is the teams that I mentioned that got these players are better.
They were all good. No, the Ravens are not.
Are the Eagles better?
The Ravens can't. Are the Eagles better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but we'll see what they do. In the
I agree.
fell
We'll see
apart
what
at
they
the
do
end
in
of
the
last
What
year.
Leroy is saying.
Let me tell you how this is going to be different.
Yeah.
Okay? Because in January, when they hand the ball off to Derrick Henry and not put Lamar Jackson in harm's way,
right.
you will see the difference.
They can still run the ball without risking their injury
so
we'll see.
when one of the things about Green Bay was they got rid of a really good running back.
They did.
Because they could get a better one. When you look at what the Eagles, instead of having the RPO with the damn quarterback every other play, now they have a running back that makes that RPO even.
I mean, the
that
Eagles did
much
go to the
more
Super Bowl
devastating.
2 years ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
No, it was more than 2 years ago. It was like 5 years ago.
The Eagles?
No, we watched it at your house.
Just
It was
lost
the Eagles.
Oh yeah. No, I'm thinking about the one they won.
Leroy, I guess
Patriots.
my frustration comes from this. Football is the ultimate team sport. And year after year, we get to the place now where we've diminished every other position outside of quarterback to a point where it's like it's either franchise quarterback or you're not good. And you got to, until he starts getting sacked, and then you look at the offensive line. Until he can't throw the ball downfield because he don't have a running game. Until he don't have defensive linemen to keep people to get after the other quarterback. And then we'll look at it and say, well.
So when's the last time a team won a Super Bowl with bad quarterback play?
What I'm telling you,
give me an example.
Bad quarterback play is different. I think Nick Foles wasn't a great quarterback.
What I'm saying to you is, when you talk about good quarterback play, there's other facets of your game that contribute to good quarterback play.
Well, like Kansas City last year, their defense had a lot to do with
Pacheco, the emergence of Pacheco is huge for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's cute, but they don't win the Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes. End of conversation.
Patrick Mahomes is the only guy that you can have that conversation about.
Okay, go ahead, Leroy.
Do you think Kansas City is the best team in the NFL?
No, but I didn't think they were the best team in the NFL last year either, and they won.
Right. Because they actually, it's crazy because we put this moniker on a person.
Yeah.
And no matter what, he gets all the acclaim for winning.
Right.
And Patrick Mahomes is having one of his worst years as a pro.
His worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so, like, there's got to be other people on that team to be able to make up for that. Now, he's going to be what we like about Patrick Mahomes is when it gets to that critical moment in time, you believe he can make a play. That's it. But here's what I would say to all these people who think quarterback is the key to winning. You think Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback?
Yes.
Why? Because this is coming from firsthand experience. And let me tell you why it's coming from firsthand experience. Because I watched 2 years of Tua with Brian Flores.
Right.
And everybody down here said he was the worst quarterback. How could they waste? Why didn't they take Justin Herbert? He is terrible. He's this, he's that.
Mm-hmm.
They switch coaches, and then all of a sudden he's this. Don't dismiss what an organization does to a player.
That's fair.
Don't dismiss it.
Especially a quarterback.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We all thought Sam Darnold sucked.
Yeah.
Right?
Well.
Then why can't he be leading a team that's damn near first in the division? Why? All of a sudden they believe he can play?
Yeah, what I would say to that, Leroy, and you're right, and we'll see what Sam Darnold does when we get to the playoffs and going forward. You may be right.
No, don't do that. Don't change don't move the bar. Yeah, everybody said he sucked, and now he's playing on the team.
And you're right. Okay, fine. I won't move the bar.
Let's get to the playoffs.
Fine. I won't move the bar. He's played very well to this point in the season. But for every Sam Darnold, I could give you 10 guys who sucked and then never got better, right?
Once.
I give you a lot of guys.
And you know what? And I would say to you, how much of that is the organization they were drafted to? See, let's look at the guys who drafted quarterbacks that were. Patrick Mahomes sat, and he was on a team that was 13-3 before he played.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Crazy.
Let's look at Green Bay has had a starting quarterback for 40 years. Okay, he sat for 4 years.
Right.
Let's go through all these teams that have these young quarterbacks that are performing, and now we get these quarterbacks now. They get in the league. They're 22, 23 years old, and we're going to have them run our franchise and wonder why they can't beat Patrick Mahomes.
That's a good point.
You cooking right now. I ain't going to lie on that.
Because in general, the best quarterbacks go to the worst organizations.
To the worst teams.
Right.
So you already – wait, what Jaden Daniels is doing is amazing. You know why? Because he's with the damn Washington Commanders.
And he's falling back to earth hard.
But that's okay. What he has done to this point with a team who we have dismissed for the last 15 years.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Well, I guess if you're a good team and you're picking in the 20s, take quarterback. Because that's the deal.
Right,
I mean, Mahomes went late.
Lamar Jackson.
See
how that worked
last pick, right?
Yeah. The Joe Burrows of the world, those are rare.
Rare.
When
you're
going to the worst team in the league, and a few years later, you're in the Super Bowl.
Wait, but no, that was 2 years later, and they haven't even sniffed it since.
We couldn't hear you, Leroy.
We couldn't hear you.
I said they went his second year.
Yeah.
And they haven't sniffed it since. And because they went that one time, we were looking at Joe Burrow, and we forget to look at the damn franchise. Okay?
So they're
still the Cincinnati Bengals.
They're
still the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And so, see, and that's my point about all of this.
Joe Burrow's still excellent, even though the Bengals don't have a good record.
Okay, but they're not any good.
Yeah.
I hear you, but that's not his fault.
How do we do that? The same thing you're saying. Oh, okay. And that's the point I was making.
We can go in circles about this for another 2 hours if you want to.
We could.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million things.
I'm just saying, like, okay, Joe Burrow's great. He's on a team that's not winning. Like,
that's true.
And then you have another quarterback that comes in that everybody thought was going to be great. Hey, what about Lawrence down here? And
we're saying a lot of the same things. I mean, like Mahomes is not playing well right now, yet the team's great. Okay, Burrow's playing great. The team stinks. So what is it? Is it the quarterback? Is it the defense? Is it the wide receivers? Is it the running backs? We're just arguing the running backs for 20 minutes, how great they are. I mean, what the hell is it?
I'm going to tell you right now. Me and Bush
is a team game. You can't boil it down.
But the quarterback is still the most important piece.
Okay.
No one will argue against that.
That's it.
No one will argue against that. Every single offensive
Leroy,
play
you drinking Tab?
Has his
is that
hands
a Tab?
on the ball.
No.
What is it?
Drink Tab.
It's like a LaCroix.
Oh, hey, that's good.
I thought that was Tab.
I've been drinking
Tab's
that.
still around, by the way?
It's
called Poppy.
Oh, Poppy's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Tab.
It's
hey,
healthier.
That goes to show you where you are, Bull.
What?
Tab? Tab?
Wait, do they still make Tab?
I don't think they make Tab
I don't even
anymore.
think they still
It just
make
shows
it.
I'm old, Leroy.
No, you know what it is? They probably call it Diet Coke now.
I don't drink Diet Coke. I drink Diet Pepsi. Leroy, last thing. This is the most important. This is the most important question. There is a town. Dustin knows this. Off the highway, off of Interstate 90 in upstate New York. It's spelled Leroy, but it's pronounced Leroy, not Leroy.
Yeah.
If you had grown up and your name had been Leroy Hoard, as opposed to Leroy Hoard,
What would you have done
would
for
it
a
have been a
living?
totally different life if you were Leroy instead of Leroy, or would you still have played football?
I would have probably been white.
I had a lot more doors open.
He'd have been
I'm going to pass out.
Leroy, did you hear Bill Belichick mention you on the Manning cast?
Oh, did he?
Yes. He mentioned you
What
on
did
the
he say?
Manning cast, which, by the way, if you're watching, and I love Joe and Troy, you're wasting your time. It is all about the Manning cast. They talked about, Bill Belichick brought you up in his story on the Manning cast. Go try to find it. Yeah, he did.
You know, I'll tell you another. You want to know another Bill Belichick thing? You remember when he said, I sat a guy out even though he was cleared to play because of a concussion?
Yeah.
That was me. That was me.
Nice.
So I knew it for a fact that
That's funny.
I went through all the protocols and whatever. He goes, you went to the hospital. I'm gonna sit you out there one more week.
Well, good for him. Good for him.
Anyway, I want to tell y'all this. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Leroy.
And I'm gonna say this. This is a public service announcement to all of my lighter skinned folks who may have, some brothers over to their house. Mm-hmm. Throw that damn pumpkin pie away and get them a sweet potato pie. Okay? Stop. I never had a pumpkin. I never had a pumpkin pie until I went to Michigan.
They are not the same.
We don't do pumpkin pie in my house.
Speaking of Michigan, enjoy Saturday, my friend.
Hey, it's funny how you come at me now. Look at it. Look at the side. I see you over there. I see you over there. Hey, I'm telling you what. I'll be on this show Monday.
Oh,
if you're going to predict it, Leroy. Don't dance around it.
Here's what I would say.
You want the 20.5 points or what?
I've said this.
No, that's too
No!
No, I think they're covering 20.5. I would think they're covering 23.
So here's the deal. In games like this,
I know,
you can't just dismiss it.
Hey,
I'm telling you,
John Cooper was undefeated 3 times and lost to inferior Michigan teams.
I typically wouldn't dismiss it, but your coach stinks and your team stinks.
The coach stinks because he don't have players.
You'll
try to play. Wait a minute. You'll try to run offense with those quarterbacks.
Hey, Mike
and then
Nuggets just had a stroke. He's been rapping us for 7 minutes.
If he still had Connor Stallions, maybe they'd win. Who knows?
Hey, listen. Hey, Leroy.
When's Connor going into the Michigan Hall of Fame?
At one point, we had to deal with Joe Bowserman at Ohio State.
That's true.
So,
Facts.
They did.
Facts.
So, been there.
Leroy, happy Thanksgiving. We love you, brother. We love you, man. I'll be texting you Saturday. Look out for it.
All right, I know. If I don't get you first.
Yeah, that's it. we go from one argument to another. Shaun King wants to go at me. I
got to get a read in. We're going to bring Shaun in, and Shaun's coming for both. But a quick reminder, guys, that skylight frames are the perfect way to celebrate and stay connected with people who are far away. If you're missing somebody this holiday season but want them to be part of your festivities, do your loved ones live far away but you wish they could live close? Well, we have the perfect gift for you guys, and that is the Skylight Frame, which is a touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy to use. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. Its seamless sharing allows you to invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email account. No part of the material may be copied in any form without explicit written permission from Strategic Media. The touchscreen is a game changer. You can swipe through photos, tap to see new photos sent, tap the heart button to say thank you to the sender. And right now, and I mean right now, we have a limited time offer for our listeners. They get $20 off their purchase of a Skylight Frame just by going to skylightframe.com/NFL. That is Skylight, SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/NFL to get $20 off your purchase right now at skylightframe.com/NFL. And with that, Shaun, I tried to get you in. Sorry for the delay, but the floor is yours now to go at it with Bull.
Go ahead, Shaun. What do you got? What do you got for me?
I don't have a problem with Bull. He's just kind of the tree that got hit by the lightning. But the lightning is intended for mass media pertaining to sports as a whole.
Okay.
Here's why quarterback evaluation is so murky and cloudy. Because sports media doesn't keep score. So influence and power is based on platform, not resume. That's why the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is the best thing going, because you guys have a QB whisperer, guru, expert whose resume is immaculate when it comes to evaluating the quarterback position. So I want to use Bull as a tree that gets hit by the lightning. The next time I tell you something about a quarterback, whatever you think, just ignore your own opinion and just say, okay, I'm going to go with what Shaun said. And the next time you attack my guy G because he agrees with me, we're going to have a real problem. So now that we got all that out the way, okay, let's talk.
Now, Shaun, all right, I like the aggressiveness. I appreciate a good fight and a good argument. And I like
it's not aggressive, it's fact.
I like your analogy.
Can he at least be an oak tree?
Now, tell me, can you please tell me one thing I said about Jameis that was unfair?
No, you just were. You were a non-believer. You were stuck in the narrative that the Browns need a change at quarterback, that they need to fix the quarterback position. And the quarterback whisperer was on here telling you they don't have a top half of the league quarterback. And then you went to getting on your phone and, well, let me go down the list and let me disagree with the guru. So what I'm doing is I'm explaining to you, if you take your non-quarterback evaluating self out of it and just listen to the expert in this particular subject, then we can move on and fix the Browns.
But here's the truth, Shaun, that most former players, unlike me, listen, I'm not debating you know more about football than I do. I'm not an idiot.
No, it's not about that. Yeah. It's not about that. Here's why I'm going to cut you off. This is why Deion Sanders has been so successful at Colorado, and nobody realizes it. He's so secure in who he is, he's not afraid to hire Warren Sapp and Phil Lodeholt and all these former NFL guys and bring their expertise in to help teach the kids. See, most of the time in the coaching business at the college level, these head coaches won't bring those guys in because they are big personalities, because they have big opinions, because they have a lot of experience. So it's not anything about me playing, you not playing. It's about my track record evaluating this position.
But you would admit that players often are biased or unafraid. I'm not talking about you specifically, but a lot of times former players, when they get into the media, are biased based on relationships they may have or afraid to be critical of certain players. And some former players won't be critical of anybody at all because of this brotherhood of being in the league. So often, there's a lot of former players that lose some credibility because of that, in my opinion. And I don't feel like you're one of those people, but that happens with a lot of former players.
So shout out to my guy, Jay Crawford, for being a great evaluator of former football talent in sports media. Appreciate you, Jay. Jay's always seen that I don't fit into that bubble. And Bull, what I want
and I was going to come to your defense, but you don't need
I wasn't
any defense.
saying that.
No,
it was him.
Bull correctly pointed out that you're not that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've worked with thousands of them. 95% of them are that guy.
Yes, 100%.
You, Shaun, and that's why I've always been your biggest advocate.
Absolutely.
You are not that guy. And when you came into the business, day one, you were not that guy. That's why I love you. You're not afraid to throw darts when they need to be thrown.
And let me put an exclamation point on what I'm saying with Bull here. Because, Bull, you got into it in one of the O-linemen. I saw something on Twitter from the Browns. He's out for the year. So did you see him at you on Twitter?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you know how you called him by name? Stop being afraid to call the former athletes by name that you're referring to. When I first came on here, I went at Dan Orlovsky when I first came on here.
You did.
I got no respect for Dan Orlovsky getting on ESPN and being, and how do I put this? And being unable to call a spade pertaining to Aaron Rodgers, and then getting on national TV and say it's not my job to critique a Hall of Famer. I wasn't near that player. Right. I don't respect that, and I put addresses on it. Stop being afraid to call people out by name.
First of all, Shaun, I name names all the time. To the detriment of my own career, I ripped
to players, not media, not former athletes in media.
Hold on.
I have ripped a million former athletes. I will, just not in this specific case.
Shaun, I will give you. There's multiple people that he has said something about. Actually, some of it could have cost him a little money. Like there's a couple people named he mentioned that was like, I don't know if I can mess with you.
I've 100% cost myself opportunities by ripping people.
You guys are awesome.
So listen, we don't need to keep going with that. Trust me, I'm not afraid to rip specific. The only reason I said former players is because most of them do. I'd have to go through a laundry list of hundreds of guys, not including you and a couple of others. Leroy Hoard, who we have on.
Good too.
Leroy's also not afraid to rip people. But that
Yeah, I'm not going to. My kids need shoes, man.
But what I'll say, what I'll say, Shaun, all I'll say about Jameis Winston, and I think this is unfair because you called me a hater last week, right? And I'm not a hater of Jameis Winston. I'm not at all. I just don't see a rush to give him a contract extension right now. I want to see him play out the rest of the year. If I were running the Browns, obviously they have information that I don't. They have They know Jameis. I don't know him personally, obviously. If I were the GM of the Browns or the owner of the Browns, I'd have information about Jameis that I don't. But based on the knowledge I have, watching his career, seeing him play this year, what I've heard from him publicly, certainly not enough information to make a full judgment on him. But only thing I'm saying about Jameis is right now, he's the best option for this team to win football games. That's obvious. There's no debate about that. I think, in my opinion, there's a chance that will still be the case next year. But I don't see the rush in signing him right now as opposed to waiting till the end of the season, considering all my options. And if in that case, once I've considered all my options, I think Jameis is still the best guy for the job, then absolutely signing him at that point.
Sean,
that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he sucks.
But Sean,
never
isn't
said
the
that.
risk of doing that once he gets through the season and he's healthy, his value, considering he plays the same level that he has, his value is only going to go up each week. And at the end of the season, when he hits free agency, he can talk to all the teams, not just the Browns, about an extension. Don't you run the risk of then having him hit the open market?
Jay, here's where you got to be careful with guys like Bull, because they're orators. You know, they went to journalism school. They got this pen. They can change. They move the goalposts on you. They try and change the narrative. There's not one clip that Mikey can go pull up where I said the Browns should extend Jameis' contract.
No, these guys did.
No, I brought that up
They did.
Monday.
That's why I brought it up.
I said Monday.
I never said that.
I said Monday that the Browns have an advantage right now if they decide that he is the guy. And to Bull's point, I don't think there's any argument that he's their best option right now. And then you start looking at, okay, well, where is a future quarterback going to come from? They come from the draft and free agency. We went through the list of available free agents next year. It is ugly.
Nobody is paying Jameis Winston big money at the end of the season.
I know they're not.
You guys know that. Come on.
I never said big money.
You said 3 years, $45 million.
No, that's not big money for a quarterback.
Nobody's paying him that. Nobody's giving him a 3-year contract.
I gave an example.
Nobody even wanted him this year.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is he's Joe Flacco, but 10 years younger. Flacco had
and nobody paid Joe Flacco either.
No, because he's 40. Jameis is 30. So my question to you on all of this is, and I know you're saying you're not advocating doing that, is there value if the Browns do believe that this is their bridge to the future? Do you risk him hitting the open market when all the teams can bid on him, or do you make him an offer now and just see what it will cost?
You have 2 months between the end of the season and free agency. By the way.
You know, it's interesting because Bull said he's not a Jameis hater, but for a guy that don't like Corvettes, you sure drive a Corvette often. I would say this: if I was Jameis, I wouldn't be interested in the contract extension. Not now.
Bet on yourself, right?
Right. Yeah, the price of the brick is only going up.
So would you sign another?
Shout out to Marlo.
Right, because here's the part. Here's the part that I think people. They see it, but they don't acknowledge the value that's attached to it. Not only is Jameis capable of being an elite quarterback, and he's showing it physically, he's what you dream of from a leadership standpoint.
Yes.
His intangibles are through the roof. Like, he has a team that was desolate, that had given up on the season, all of a sudden believing in themselves and being motivated to go out and win for each other. Like,
but Shaun,
there's no value on that.
But then why did nobody want him coming into this year?
Hold on. Let me just jump. Let me just jump in here real quick and just give, because you said something that I want to drill down on. Before Jameis Winston, when they brought Jameis Winston in here, he was a consummate pro. He was a backup. He said, my job here is to support Deshaun Watson at every level, right? He supported him. He rallied the team. When Deshaun Watson got hurt, he stood up for his teammate and said, hey, when they was booing, he stood up for his teammate and said, nah, we're not going to do that. And then what he did is was able to come back the next week and then get the fan base back and say, you know what, I said what I said because I believe in going back for my teammate, but let me tell you something. We need you guys to be with us so we can win. He rallied the locker room and then gave you 2 wins against teams that are in your division that are prime time rivals with the Steelers, and the way he did that with the Ravens. He took a locker room with people that looked disinterested in playing, who wanted to leave, and now they are rallying around him, talking good football. Hold on.
Okay.
You don't got to argue. Let's and let me get my money.
You and Jay did say 2 weeks ago that the team quit, but okay.
I mean, listening.
I thought they did it in New Orleans.
Listening is a skill.
Yeah, all right.
It's a hard one.
Oh, okay. So what I'm saying to you is, you can rattle off all the stats that you want. To the people in that locker room and to the people that's rallying around Jameis Winston, there are some things you can't dig up in stats. There's some things that are intangible, and leadership is one of his best qualities. The man has come in here and he's changing things around. All I'm saying, and the people that seeing Jameis Winston is saying, is you've been devoid of leadership. You've been devoid of production. You were infighting. It was a civil war. And the dude came in when people would fall and other quarterbacks would come in here and take these L's. He's put it together, and now the Cleveland Browns look like a semblance of an offense. Receivers catch the ball. Offensive linemen are blocking. And now Kevin Stefanski is no longer talking about getting fired. I think that guy's worth giving a little, just a peek to, little respect. That's all I'm saying.
Well said, G.
I agree. So, Shaun, explain to me, please, why, if he's all these things, he's a short thing, why did no team want him to be a starter this year?
Who cares?
Well, because,
it's a reasonable
he was
question.
Coming off of, yeah, it is. It's very reasonable. So here's what happens. First,
Minnesota?
Well, the Raiders?
Minnesota chose.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, what team needed a starting quarterback?
There were 5 or 6 teams that you could have argued going into the season, and none were interested in him.
Yeah, but he hadn't done anything. He's been hurt in New Orleans.
He's hurt?
Oh, but all I'm saying is now he's being talked about as if he's a sure thing. And
he's not a sure thing.
He's not a sure thing. He's the best thing we have.
But no, Shaun's saying he's a sure thing. I think, right?
Oh, I am 100%.
Saying he has the ability to be elite.
No. He said it's a sure thing.
Yeah,
it's a great.
So
it's
if he's a sure thing, why did nobody else want him? I'm just asking.
It's his opinion. It's a hot take that he's got.
And all I'm doing is asking why. That's not an unfair question.
Bull, it's not an unreasonable question at all, and it's also one of the biggest issues pertaining to why some NFL teams have success and some don't. They stink at evaluating the quarterback position. Sam Darnold was a backup in Sam Darnold was a backup in San Francisco last year. He also has failed at 3 other spots. Baker Mayfield didn't succeed when he left Cleveland. He went to Carolina and sucked. So sometimes it takes these guys longer to turn into a consistently winning quarterback.
And Shaun, let me ask you a question. Shaun, let me ask you a question. First off, are you being held hostage right now?
He's worried about where you are right now. Blink twice if you need help.
So Dustin, we just moved into a new crib, and so I have young kids. So I'm in the garage because it's impossible.
I know. I can tell. I can see your stuff behind you. I'm just messing with you. I see the thing. But no, I do have a question.
On the question of why did everybody pass? Well, why did everybody pass on Tom Brady? Why did everybody pass on Brock Purdy? To your point, the league sucks at evaluating quarterbacks.
That's not a good comparison. Those guys are coming out of college.
My man Dustin
Davis has done more.
Can we put it? My man Dustin. Hold on. Dustin had a question.
Yeah, Dustin is asking a question.
Go ahead.
Just in terms of Jameis, I mean, like, Darnold signed a 1-year deal with Minnesota this year for $10 million. Yep. Jameis signed here 1 year, $4 million. Okay, he's a free agent next year. So
Flacco got the same deal in Indy, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, to like, you're asking the question, why did nobody want him? Like next year, someone's going to offer him more than $10 million for next season.
But nobody's offering him a 3-year contract.
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't imagine, but we'll see.
Okay.
So
the Browns are what,
3-8?
3-8? 3-8. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's 2-2.
That's 11 games, which means we've got 6 more to play.
That's right.
Okay. After another 6 games.
So what's wrong with waiting for another 6 games?
Oh, we're saying like extend him tomorrow?
That's what they were saying.
Yeah, let me ask you this: what if he goes 4-2?
No.
And he finishes the season?
Well, I think
you could still sign him at the end of the year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But we heard Shaun say this too. With each
the price of the brick going up, bull.
The price of the bricks are going up. Yeah. And we don't have a lot of luxury because we're paying a guy that's not going to see the field $85 million.
Also, but dude, Jameis is a different guy. You know, like I truly think he loves it here and wants to be here.
I do too.
You know what I mean?
We talked about that Monday.
I think he's like Ramirez.
Yeah.
You know, loves being in Cleveland.
Until Las Vegas offers him way more money.
Yeah, but
players love money.
Again, this is the question. I totally forgot because you guys were like going 85 directions.
Yeah.
You played quarterback. How much from that position did it matter when you got with a coordinator or a quarterback coach that called the plays, that put you in a system to let you have success? Like you brought up, Darnold had failed everywhere he'd been. Baker failed after he left Cleveland. And then Baker gets into a system where he starts to thrive. Like, how much does that matter to your position?
So one or two things has to happen, right? You have to be such an elite talent that the coordinator does not have a choice, meaning Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick. Like, the owner not going to allow you to screw that talent up, right? The other thing is consistency. A Peyton Manning, who had Tom Moore and Howard Mudd, the OC and O-line coach, the first decade of his career. So, like, it's generally those two things. Everybody that's in the middle is kind of rolling the dice a little bit because, and just for context, here's how I separate play callers. I don't like guys that have a system. I like guys that have schemes. And here's what I mean by that. A system means that this is all you know, this is all you run. If it doesn't work, we got to get different players. Schemes is Andy Reid. When we got Tyreek Hill and prime Travis Kelce, we could do one thing. When we don't re-sign Tyreek Hill, but we bring in Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, we can turn into another. When all our receivers are hurt and we got Kareem Hunt, who Dustin loves, we can turn the team into another kind of team. Like, so a lot of guys calling plays don't have schemes, they got systems. So to the quarterback point, and here's why I've criticized the Bears so significantly. How can you hire an OC and Shane Waldron, having the number one pick, and then have so little faith in him that you fire him midway through the rookie season?
Yeah.
Because now you set your rookie quarterback back. Now instead of Caleb being able to self-critique and kind of self-scout this all, he got to learn a new system. Like, these organizations just don't know what they're doing.
I'm curious, Shaun, on that vein, to drill down on that a little more.
Hopefully that answers your question, Dustin. Sorry.
No, it's a great answer, and I wouldn't know because all I needed was a hand signal.
And yeah,
that's my man or zone.
Let's say there's 100 quarterbacks in the NFL, whatever, give or take. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that all 100 in the right scenario could be successful, or is it just 50? Is it like where does that line? Or do you think every quarterback that's good enough to actually make the NFL in the right system could have at least some level of success?
I think the NFL is in a predicament because of supply and demand.
Okay.
Right? And here's where I think the Browns have to be really careful. Because you need something doesn't mean that year's draft class has it.
That's true.
We say that all the time.
And so you got a lot of bad quarterbacks in the NFL because teams have had a needed quarterback and they just decide to draft whatever's available at a premium. Mm-hmm. And then now you got a lot of guys, your Zach Wilsons, your Kenny Pickett's, your guys that never, ever, ever, ever should have been first-round picks floating around the league.
Right.
Because of simple supply and demand. And that's what the Browns better be careful because this is not a good QB class for this draft.
No.
So you don't think, just to clarify, you don't like Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett. I mean, we think they stink, but do you agree, or do you think there is some coaching staff that could make them a decent quarterback? No,
I don't think so. See, I'm a big guy on college resume, and unless you're in a situation where you're sitting behind like a Heisman winner or something, when you've played multiple years in college and you were only good 1 year, especially when it was a 21-plus year because of COVID, I'm very skeptical of you being a good player.
So do you think Daniel Jones could still be a starter in the league with the right coach?
Daniel Jones not a good player.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with that.
Daniel Jones threw 24 touchdowns as a rookie. He's been living off of that ever since. First of all, he's never been able to stay healthy. Secondly, I think his touchdown totals, listen to this, guys. He got paid $150 million after throwing for, I think it was 11, 10, and 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was nuts.
His second, third, and fourth year. Like, he got that deal off a 15 touchdown season.
That's insane.
Not saying stats are all, just the facts are the facts. Like, come on.
He's not wrong.
Last thing real quick, I know we got to go, Mike. Is there a
Nah,
quarterback?
don't rush me. Y'all gave Leroy all my time. Hell no.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk to me nice.
Mike's trying to rush you.
Yeah.
Mike's trying to rush you.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Sean, these guys wanted to talk 5 minutes of fantasy football and took it away from you.
That's true. That's true. Did you? Now I forgot my question.
Sorry, man. My bad.
Damn it.
There was another
you know what it's like
quarterback
to
I
be me.
wanted to ask him about.
We're talking about Daniel Jones.
Here's the question: has there been a quarterback that came into the league that you thought was not going to be good and turned out to be good with the right coach, or vice versa? A guy you thought was going to be good, maybe at first you thought it was bad coaching, but he just turned out to be not good. Is there an example of either?
Absolutely. I think I didn't misevaluate him, but I thought his ceiling was much lower than it ended up being. Was Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm just telling you, if you go back and look at Patrick Mahomes' college tape at Texas Tech,
Did you think?
you don't see what he's you don't see what he's become. If you're being honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like to me, the one is like Josh Allen, man. I watched a lot of his stuff at Wyoming, and he was good. I mean, he had all the traits, but it just I don't know. The numbers weren't there. And he played in the Mountain West. I don't know, but I mean,
So what's interesting?
Ridiculous.
So what's interesting about Josh Allen? He's successful because of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, if people remember this, they drafted Josh Allen, but they started Tyrod Taylor, and they let him learn. And then when Josh Allen played, he wasn't very good the first year and a half.
Yeah, I remember people were writing him off already.
Yeah, they didn't panic, and they were very clear with their fan base. We've got a young quarterback that we're going to let develop in front of us, and we're going to have patience with him.
Sounds like a
We're not going to panic.
What a great plan.
We're not going to get frustrated if he doesn't have early success. We're going to play him. We're going to keep developing him and coaching him. And I thought him and Brian Daboll, who I think were together from the time he was drafted, had a really good chemistry. He had consistency and system.
And you know what's stupid, Shaun? I never understood this. There have been so many teams in recent years that start the season saying they're going to do that they're not going to start their rookie quarterback right away. And they use some veteran backup. And in a lot of cases, those veterans are not very good. And then they end up playing the rookie in week 3 or 4, which if he wasn't ready week 1, I don't see how he's ready week 3 or 4. But they end up starting him because the starter gets hurt or because he's not playing well. Well, if the reason you didn't start him in the first place is because you wanted him to learn, like you're saying, hey, sit, watch, learn these things, well, then playing him because the starter got hurt or because the starter stinks doesn't really make sense, but they do that.
Desperate.
So it's a multitude of actual real answers for this. Number one is ownership.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the owners now that want to be celebrities. So how do you become a celebrity fast from an ownership standpoint? I'm not talking about the old school guys, the Rooneys, and, these guys have been there forever. I'm talking about all these new owners. You get involved with the quarterback decision, right? You act like you're responsible for him being here and his success. Secondly, guys just don't know what they're doing. Like, it also comes with the coach. How much security does the coach have? A lame duck coach does not want a rookie quarterback.
Right.
Because he's probably not going to win. And he won't be here when the kid gets good.
That's true.
So I think organizations got to learn. Owners, get out the way. And number 2, make the coaching staff match up with the selection of a first-round quarterback.
Shaun, do you play fantasy football?
Absolutely.
Will you join the UCSS Fantasy Football League next season?
Absolutely. I love you guys.
Let's go. He's in. We need him.
And see, the one thing I love about this panel is we just converted Bull into a actual better journalist because now he understands
we're about results.
When it comes with evaluating quarterbacks, just listen to King.
See, I feel like, Shaun, I've made you a better analyst. See, that's how I'm looking at it.
Shaun.
Thanks, Shaun.
We love you, brother.
Nah,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Come in studio with us.
When
Come
you pulling
Cleveland.
up?
Hey, man, just tell Mike and Steve to send the PJ, man. Let's go.
What kind of budget you think we have here?
Hey,
we can't afford fatheads.
We'll take care of you. Send a horse and buggy. Will that work?
Bro.
It's cold right now. You got to
Hey,
do that in the
Shaun,
summer, Jay.
We'll take care of you.
We'll throw you on a frontier.
Hey, how about this? Hey guys, I would love, and if it's Frontier Spirit, I gotta have one of the first row. Get some leg room. I would love to come up and do like a 2 or 3 days in studio with you guys. I would love to do
awesome.
Hey, to everybody on the panel, to everybody in Cleveland, enjoy last Thursday's win. Go make you a snow angel. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Tell your family you love them, and let's get ready for a Browns win this weekend.
I love it.
Thanks, Shaun.
Shaun, you're the
Great
best,
stuff,
man. Happy Thanksgiving, brother.
Awesome. Thanks, Shaun.
You know, so cool thing. I know what that was. He's like, I got kids, and they ain't gonna act right. They're not gonna act right. They throwing toys. He has to threaten them. I told you, don't you embarrass me right now. Get upstairs.
I gotta get
relegated to the garage, though.
Don't you find a better backdrop though? Like maybe move the container or center it.
The beauty
or
of
something.
Sean King is he's all about substance over style. He doesn't care. It's what he's saying that we're listening to.
That's fantastic.
And that was a little bit of an old garage door opener. It was on the side. That's low clearance. I thought that boy was supposed to be way up here.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with the angle.
Yeah, he also looks off screen.
Yeah.
I think he has 2 screens looking.
Yeah.
He's the best, man. He really is.
He
was fun when he was at 22.
Mike, you're right over there?
No, I was reading his text. He just said, tell the guys sometimes my wife just comes barging into the garage. Nowhere safe in this house. So that's the garage. I got to do a FanDuel read real quick, guys.
Here?
You can tackle all your NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Guys, we learned last week that the HBO Hard Knocks cameras have made their way to Berea. They got some footage from the Steelers game and some of the lead up to that. They'll be there all week again, leading up to the game against the Broncos. And then on December 3rd, the series officially begins. They're featuring the entire AFC North. The Browns, obviously, part of that. Are you excited for this, or considering the season the Browns have had, are you not excited to see whatever the HBO cameras can unveil from behind the scenes in Berea?
Unveil?
Did you just? I thought he said unveil.
Unveil. Sorry, unveil. I'm rusty. I had 2 days off.
Rough crowd here, man. Rough
No,
crowd.
listen, Bull's always on it. And then I look at him and we're done. They could unveil some things, yeah.
Can they unveil something?
They could definitely unveil.
They might unveil some veal parmesan.
Have you ever had the veal parmesan?
I like the way Mike. I like the way you wrote that question because, like, when I read it, I'm like, no, I'm not excited. I'm not. That's the level of apathy I've hit.
Excited, no. Interested, yes.
Interested is
Yes.
the word.
Yeah.
I am very interested, but excited. I was excited when they came here before the season a number of years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Hugh Jackson
my
looks
excitement about this season is gone. The only drama for me is what will Jameis look like the rest of the way.
Only reason I'm here is for 400 yards.
Right.
I'm trying to see 400 yards and young guys.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, are you somebody? What are we gonna get from Cedric Tillman? Can I see a
I
Zach
don't know if
Zenner?
Cedric Tillman's going to play this week.
Jerry Jeudy, can he get 1,000
Still
yards?
in protocol, right?
Tillman is still in protocol.
So yeah, I'm all for the stats at this
Might
point.
we see if Tillman doesn't play this week? Might we finally see? I forgot
Jamar
his name. He
Thrash.
hasn't played.
Yeah, Thrash.
He does have one catch. He got a catch 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true.
And they did one reverse to Kadarius
Go
Toney. They got
back and
blew up.
listen to Andrew Berry's comments about Thrash when we drafted him.
What did he say? I don't remember. Loved him.
Glowing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, did he forget how to play football? We haven't developed him.
No.
He already was at a very, very high level. And I just keep hearing those comments back in my head like, who was he talking about?
In fairness to Thrash, he's a late round pick. Late round picks don't often make an impact in their rookie year at wide receiver.
Let me ask you this question, Dustin.
Yeah.
Because me as a person looking outside, looking in, get frustrated. Have you ever had a teammate who, like, he was either a young guy or just an undrafted guy that was like everybody knew was good? Mm-hmm. You're like, this kid is why is he not playing? Like, does that trickle down to your level where you're like, why don't coach ever put him in the game? This guy's dynamite. Or is it something that they're doing that is prohibiting them from getting on the field, or just sometimes it's a numbers game?
It's a great question. The answer to that is yes, 100%. You see guys all the time. In the 5 years I spent in the NFL on rosters, there were undrafted players, late-round picks on every team that the veterans, young guy, didn't matter. Everyone on the team knew, like, that guy's a beast. Like, that guy should be playing, but he's undrafted. There were guys, and I've told Adam this because we Adam and I have, been together for a long time and spent a lot of time together talking about certain things. There were players that, like, literally probably should have started for our team, like a receiver, and I knew because I played corner, and so I'm going up against the starters. I'm going up against the undrafted free agents, and a lot of those guys, the opportunity just never presented itself because you had a receiver who's making $12 million.
That's crazy.
It is
You'd
crazy.
think a coach
would always play the best guys.
Play the best guys.
Always.
Not always the coach's decision.
But it's the general manager that has skin in the game. The GMs, you know it in baseball, they hold on to these guys longer than they should. Same with football. For a long time, Andrew Berry, I think 3 years before he cut any of his draft picks. Yeah. Like, some of those sucked. And we knew they sucked from day one. But you hold on to them.
Remember, so my buddy Ryan Hogue, we had him on the show one time.
Yeah.
Receiver, and he was Mr. Irrelevant with the Vikings.
Oh, wow.
And he played at Augustine College or Augustine
Division III school
up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And he was the fastest receiver I've ever guarded. Like, he was excellent in practice all the time and never made a roster. Oh, actually did. He got on 2 games, but that was it. Never played. And it's one example, but there are
a lot of those.
I have like 3-4 guys on every team.
What's the quarterback with the Bills again? I keep forgetting.
Jabron Hamden.
Jabron Hamden, right.
Who played at Indiana, ironically, and was an okay college quarterback, but he was way better than everyone we had in Buffalo. I'm not saying he would have been like a legit starter across the league, but like for what we had in Buffalo, like he was better than Sean Edwards.
Did you ever play on a team where the coaching staff, because I wouldn't expect the general manager would do this, but where the coaching staff would call in the defensive backs and ask for advice on roster decisions on the wide receivers? Because that's the position that I think, I love when wide receivers talk about DBs they've gone against and the other way around. Because that is mano a mano, and oftentimes you don't have help and you're on an island. And I always thought that you guys know better than anyone who the threats are at wide receiver on your own team.
It's kind of funny. I was doing this Akron game this week, last night, and we had a conference call with the coaches, as we always do before games. And there's a receiver on Akron who I was curious about because he's having a really good year. And I asked the defensive coordinator of Akron, I said, what's this guy like in practice? Did you know he was going to be this good? Does he tear you guys up in practice when you're going? And so yes, to your point, as a player, I played corner, so the receivers, I could give an evaluation. Did the coaches ever ask me? Hell no, they didn't ask me.
Yeah.
Right. I think it makes too much sense.
Maybe they should.
Did they ask the DB coach?
Maybe they did. I don't know. But, I mean, no one's bringing me in and be like, hey, I saw the one-on-ones today. Do you think this guy's pretty good? I mean, this just doesn't happen.
It's a shame it doesn't.
Ain't that right?
That's why Andy Reid, when I watched the behind the scenes of the quarterback show, when he has an open door policy and says, bring me your play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll talk over it. If I like it, we'll implement it.
Andy Reid is essentially the GM there as well.
That is,
he has more power than other coaches to do that.
But he's also open-minded. Ideas come from all corners.
He's open-minded enough to be able to say, hey, you guys are my eyes and ears. You guys play the game. Yeah. Let me hear. I just think.
Right, but we are so impatient with head coaches. Like, Andy Reid might not have been that way his first 2 years in the league. We don't know.
You know what I love, though? When Shaun was talking about the difference between system and scheme, that's a fascinating conversation that I don't know that I've heard very much conversation about. And it was interesting when he said, and he used Andy Reid as the example, Andy Reid has schemes. Everybody else has systems. And what's fascinating about that is, that's factual. Andy Reid has won in a variety of ways just during his years in Kansas City. He's won where he's said to Patrick, here's the ball, do whatever you need to do. And now where Patrick is 18 touchdowns, 11 picks, he's like, okay, we can't rely on that anymore because the defense has good players too.
They have a unique way of seeing talented players and then saying, okay, what way can I use this talented player? Not which way can I put this talented player
Kareem Hunt.
In my system that's rigid. Like, no, that's why they play. That's why, even you go back and look at Belichick and Brady. They won every way possible. They won with guys playing two ways, like Brown and Vrabel. They won by having a crazy defense with all those guys up front. They won by having 2 tight ends with Gronk and Hernandez. They won by having Wes Welker and short guys like that.
Yeah.
They won every way possible because they were like, look, just give me the players. If you give me the players, I'm going to find a way to cook a good meal up. It's going to be, it may not be Italian, but
that's scheming.
But I'm going to burst your bubble again because in the end, they don't win without Tom Brady and the Chiefs don't win without Patrick Mahomes. It's that simple.
It's the combination of the coach and the quarterback, but I do think the point
talent.
is,
obviously, the talent around them is important.
Sure, it's very important.
The Bengals don't have enough talent on defense.
I don't think the Chiefs win without Travis Kelce.
Joe Burrow.
So I'll say this. If you swapped Andy Reid and you put him on the Bengals will probably win the Super Bowl.
Oh,
I would think they could
certainly be in the playoffs.
Yes.
They'd be in the Super Bowl.
I don't think Zach Taylor's a very good coach.
It kind of matters. Like, hey, if you took Andy Reid and you put him over with Josh Allen,
the 2 dynasties of our lifetime have done it with all-time elite quarterback talent and all-time elite tight end talent. That's the formula.
I don't know
England,
about the tight
why
end
not?
part of
What,
that.
when
that
in
could
New
just
England,
be coincidental.
It is?
I don't know that I buy the tight end
Does
part.
New England win all their Super Bowls without Gronk or Hernandez?
no.
Does Kansas City
Well, they
win
won
their
without
Super Bowls?
Hernandez.
One. No. In the whole stretch of it, yes,
Are you talking about just the last 20 years?
Well, yeah, because that's what it goes back to.
Yeah, well, I mean, the tight end position, to your point, has changed. I mean, they become unicorns.
Well, Bill Belichick did that. Bill said, not only am I going to have one all-world, I'm going to take Aaron Hernandez and team him with Gronk, and now you guys go cover that.
The 2 tight ends, yeah. I mean,
so it's
those guys are
interesting.
mismatches.
I'm just pointing out that one of the commonalities between the 2 dynasties in our lifetime, well, in the latter half of our lifetimes, have had those components.
But
all-time elite quarterback talent, all-time elite tight end talent.
I just don't buy that I think the tight end's coincidental, but I guess
Maybe coincidental.
I think more than anything, you have all-time great coaches that can say, hey, I can win anyway. And some years, I watched the Patriots play the Rams, and they won by, 2 points? The Patriots couldn't move the ball at all.
Right.
But they found a way to win in a different way.
There's also another commonality to those 2 dynasties, and that's great coaches.
Yes, very good coaches.
Mikey, what do you got for us?
I got 2 more reads. We slacking on the reads today, but if you guys want to play America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, you have to download the Prize Picks app. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike on other apps with Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. It's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly just by playing $5. You don't even have to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. We started the show talking Cavs. We didn't actually do any preview of the game against the Hawks tonight. Trae Young is listed as questionable, and that's interesting because the Hawks got fined $100,000 a couple of weeks ago. Or they got fined yesterday, but he sat out against the Celtics in an NBA Cup game. And the NBA did an investigation and said he was healthy enough to play, so they fined him $100,000. They beat the Celtics that night.
Oh, wait a second, Mike.
Did you miss that?
I thought guys sit for maintenance all the time. What's the difference?
You know what? I haven't done the full investigation.
I think the difference is the transparency.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
What do you mean?
They should have just came out and said,
we're
going to sit this player because we're load management.
What did they list him as questionable for?
I'm pulling up the article right now. The NBA fined the Hawks $100,000 for violating the league's player participation policy in connection with Trae Young missing the NBA Cup game on November 12th against the Celtics. He was listed with an ankle injury. An independent investigator found he was healthy enough to play.
Now, here's what's stupid about that. You can't tell me what my ankle feels like.
You ran an investigation.
You cannot tell. There's one person who can tell me what my ankle feels like.
How is an independent investigator?
You know what it is? They're trying to send a message that these cup games are big. Stop doing that during cup games. But it's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. You can't tell me what my leg hurts, what my leg feels like. Nobody can.
Was there somebody hiding in the bushes and Trae Young was doing like
We watched him walk to
jacks?
his car, and he walked at the same speed that he always does. Now, that's absurd. You can't. There's no machine you can hook up to an ankle and say, right now it's at 81%.
All they got to do is you go to the real world where regular people have regular jobs, and we done all been in work. I don't know if y'all have, but we know what the point system is. You ever work somewhere with a point system?
No.
What do you mean?
Oh Lord, I forget. Y'all been in the industry.
Cliff notes, please.
Yeah. Cliff notes for a point system is those with regular jobs.
Okay.
They tell you, hey, if you miss one day, that's a point. You get to 3 points.
Oh,
We'll talk to you later.
So strikes.
Yeah, like or you late, that's half a point. There was
They have quarter points?
No, they didn't know quarter points.
What if you vomit on the job?
If you vomit and go home early,
Does that count?
that's
as
a half a point.
Can you get more than 1 point in a day?
Oh, if you get
Could you technically get 3 points in a day and be done?
well, actually, no, you only get 1 point for not showing up.
Can you text your boss saying you're feeling sick and don't want to come in, and then that boss forces you to call him?
And then your boss calls you and says, "Look, we've done an investigation. G, you are fine to come into work."
Actually, yes. Like there's an employee here.
There are workarounds for sure. My question, though, real quick tonight.
But hold on. But what I'm saying to you is this.
Look where we took this.
We took it all the way.
You unveiled something here.
But what I want, what all they got to do is say, listen, if you don't play a certain amount of games, and you got a point system, you're not eligible for the All-Star game. You're not eligible for first, second, or third team NBA or defensive teams, and you're not eligible to be on the Olympic team. It's all based on like how many games you miss. And if you miss 5 games and you were hurt, so what?
I don't think there's any way you can legislate this, and I think doing it that way is bad.
Why?
Because then guys may play when they're not physically able for contract
and might end up
reasons.
missing more games. I think what's coming here, I'm just guessing, the Players Union is going to file a grievance because my first question to the league is, so let's see the results of your independent investigation.
The team got fined, not Trae Young, so the Players Union's not going to care.
Well, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. But I'm sorry, that's just not enforceable.
Stupid. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, the question, though, is, and it's related but unrelated to that, the night he missed the game against the Celtics, they were 17-point underdogs. They outright beat the Celtics in Boston. Are the Hawks a more dangerous opponent if Trae Young doesn't play tonight?
Yeah, I saw that was your question. No, that's absurd.
You're not asking that question seriously, are you?
I think they're better
it was in the notes, and when I saw it, I said,
I think they're better without Trae Young.
So they should cut him.
I would trade if I could. I don't think any team wants him.
God, I don't know.
I think
Isn't it just that maybe the Celtics took them lightly because he didn't play?
Mikey, I know you watch a lot more basketball than I do, man, but that guy's, what do you do with that guy? He's so talented.
It's like LaMelo Ball. Incredibly talented.
Not in the team system.
It doesn't lead to winning basketball. Now, he did have the playoff run, and I'm not taking that away.
You are taking it away.
When you ask, are they better without him, you're taking that away.
Well, I'm saying that playoff run, he gets credit. Since then,
that was a few years
they have
ago.
all these extra wings, and a guy like, what's his name, Jalen Johnson, who's 19th pick out of Duke, he gets a chance to kind of be a more facilitator. He had a triple-double. He had 36, 14, and 11 against the Celtics in that game. He touches the ball 7 times when Trae was on the court. They have other guys who can do things that don't touch the ball. I just think they're actually legitimately better without Trae Young.
Well, I look at it like this. Well, if you're the coach, right? Make him get a ball up.
It doesn't work that way always in the NBA.
Hey,
isn't Russell Westbrook that kind of player to some degree, Mike?
He was.
He used to be. Yeah. There was a time where he could flash a box score like no one else, and his team kept losing.
You know how we started the show talking about how you could stop the Cavs if you could switch?
Yeah.
Without Trae Young on the court, they can start a lineup, theoretically speaking, tonight of Jalen Johnson, who's 6'10 athletic, or 6'9 athletic, DeAndre Hunter, who's 6'8 and athletic, Dyson Daniels, who leads the NBA in steals, who's 6'7 and athletic, Zachary Reese-Shea, who was their first overall pick in the draft, is 6'8 and athletic, and the center, either Kongwu or Clint Capella.
You think they would? I mean, I like that.
That's what they started against the Celtics without Trae Young.
I kind of like.
They play that supersized, just switch everything defense.
Like how many players in the NBA are not athletic?
Well, there's levels to athleticism.
What's their record?
The Hawks this year?
Yeah,
500.
Yeah,
they are.
I think they're below 500.
But not much, I don't think.
They're 7-11.
Okay.
Always open.
I'm not writing anybody off, G, because we're due a clunker.
Oh, man. Well, I'm just saying, I mean, they can start all them dudes, but they still need somebody to put the ball in the boot.
Also, and we talk about Trae Young. What do you think his shooting percentages are this year? We talked about how good the Cavs were shooting. Right?
Yeah.
Trae Young is taking 17 field goal attempts per game, shooting 38.5%.
Oh my God.
He's taking 9 threes per game, shooting 33%.
Ooh, that's bad.
They're better without Trae Young, I'm telling you.
How many games have they played without him?
Trae Young has played in 17 games, and they've played 18 games. The one game he didn't play, they beat the Celtics.
Yeah, but you know the Celtics had to take them lightly.
But it was a cup game.
Wasn't that in Boston too?
It was in Boston in a cup game, which is why the Cavs cup game they had to win, or they would have been 0-2 and eliminated.
Oh,
so, yes.
how would they have survived?
I'm just saying, you get my point.
You'd rather win than not, though.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to break their necks to win it, but you'd rather win than not.
That's true. The Cavs did run it up against.
It's the NBA, man.
Yeah,
who was it they ran it up against, Mike? The cup game.
The Bulls.
The Bulls, right.
They haven't ruled him out yet.
Is Trae Young? What's his latest status on him?
He's listed as questionable.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
With an ankle?
Spread's 9.
With an ankle?
Yeah. Well, we've got some of our top investigators looking into that.
He's got a knee.
He's got a knee.
He's got an elbow.
Yeah,
by the way, in the game he didn't play. This was their scoring recap, and they did start 6 guys.
We get the point.
They started 5 guys who are 6'8" or taller. They had 5 guys in double digits. Okongwu had 15. Larry Nance Jr. had 19. Dyson Daniels had 28. Jalen Johnson had 22. And Clint Capella had 18.
The Cavs, by the way, 14
dangerous.
and 4 against the spread this year.
Wow.
They're crushing teams.
Like, how much? Making some cash
Yeah,
on
you
the
bet on the
Cavaliers.
Cavs every game?
Man.
What's the spread, 10.5?
9 or 10 right now.
Let me look at the latest, most to date.
I saw it between both those numbers.
Dustin, you're big on this, man.
I just looked it up.
What do you normally drop?
I see 9.5.
We're not talking about that right now.
I see 9.5 currently.
9.5?
9.5. You ready to do some super chats?
I only asked because I care, Dustin.
I care too. Trust me.
All right, let's get to super chats. We got 4 super chats to wrap up today's show. If you guys are missing somebody this holiday season and want them to be part of your festivities from afar, we have the perfect gift for you. It's the Skylight Frame, which is a touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in just seconds. It looks beautiful in your home. Photos are displayed in HD resolution, and you can choose from 5 different frame styles. Set it up in portrait or landscape mode. They have 2 different sizes to choose from, the original 10-inch or the larger 15-inch gallery frame that both look perfect in any room. They can stand on their own, or they can be mounted easily to a wall. It's better than social media. It's a great private way to share photos without posting it to the world or having to print and make hard copies at the store. And right now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, you can get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame just by going to skylightframe.com/NFL. That is Skylight Frame, SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/NFL. Get $20 off your purchase at skylightframe.com today.
Can I make a quick suggestion? Shoot. Most of our sponsors, like SeatGeek or whatever, like how do you show a picture of it? This is a case where I'd love to see a picture of this skylight. Like, what does it look like?
And can you pull up a Skylight Frame?
So I'm not just maybe suggesting like we do it right now, but I'm just trying to give the most value to all of our wonderful sponsors, and we have a lot, and we love all of them. The idea here is to sell product. If I can see the product, I'm more likely to buy said product.
I like that.
So maybe we can put an image up of said product and make it more of a commercial than just a read with a slate over it.
We can, Game Time's our ticket app, not SeatGeek. So make sure Game Time, use promo code Game Time, Locked On NFL for 20% off your first purchase on the Game Time app. All right, super chats real quick. Then I have your Mobley touches stats, Jay. I was able to look those up.
Oh, good.
Brody's bottom line says, it's funny Jay wanted to trade Evan and Garland last year.
I did. I was wrong.
Me too.
10,000%. I've also said many times on the show, I would be the worst general manager in the history of sports, because I'm too emotional. But
I would be the best general manager in the history of the Browns. I believe that.
Well, I would be too.
Maybe.
But by default.
Hey, listen.
I'd be second best to you.
when you
I defer.
You be a fool. You be a fool not to get new information and be like,
and change your mind.
That's right.
Yes, I was 1,000% wrong. In fact, I even did say by the end of last year, maybe we need to rethink that.
Happy to be wrong.
I'm love to be wrong.
2 more. Ray Smith says, hey, Bull, Burrow is balling and the Bengals still suck. Guess it's more than just a QB. Happy Thanksgiving. Best show in the land. Kool-Aid Mafia in the building.
I've said that a number of times this year.
So shout out to
B,
Ray.
I never said it was only the quarterback, just that the quarterback's the most important.
If they had a mediocre defense, they're probably in first place.
Yeah,
and I don't think
they're
that's
certainly in the
hyperbole.
playoffs.
Their defense, Bull, when I watch them, I'm like, can they stop anybody?
No, it's horrible.
And they were decent last year.
Yeah.
Year to year, year to year.
You can't trust defense. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it doesn't transfer like offense does.
They've scored like 70 points in the 2 games
By the
against
way,
Baltimore and lost both games.
Joe Burrow still have a wrist deal? Because I keep seeing him doing.
He does those exercises to continue like.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
but when I watch him, I'm like,
from the surgery.
that's what I do when my wrist hurts.
He still does exercises. He said he's probably like 95% healed.
I think there's an issue. I think at the end of the year, he's going to come out and say, you know what, it wasn't right all year.
I don't know. He's been playing great.
He's been playing great, but I think he hasn't played as well as he has.
Man, my wrist
He's
is
missing some throws here and there.
Man,
Yeah,
he's
I
just tennis
don't know,
elbow, man. I'm doing the same stuff, man, every day. But I still grind through it. You got to stretch it. You got to get it.
When I was like 12 or 13, my wrist used to hurt all the time.
Yeah, same.
Pause.
That's
a
last
super
super chat
pause right
comes
there.
from Chris
Especially your
Fox.
right wrist, bro.
Chris Fox says
Stranger?
Sierra K in the chat is fine. So we got people shooting their shots in the chat.
Okay.
And Jay, you asked about the touches for Evan Mobley.
Yes.
Quick search. Believe it or not, he actually is getting fewer touches
I
this
can't
year
believe
than
that.
last year.
I don't believe that.
What does that mean? What is the
Quick
definition of
surge.
touches?
What does that mean? Quick
Anytime he
surge.
touches the ball.
Oh.
So passes to and from. But the position of his touches are quite different. He's getting way more touches outside of the elbow. He's getting fewer paint touches. And last year, his average dribble per touch, fewer than 1. It's up to 1.5. So he's attacking instead of just catching and passing.
And that, I think that measures the aggressiveness.
We'll see you in overtime.
Peace. Happy Thanksgiving.
I think a part